What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 2MF. Chapter 26 Luen really gave you a good thing. Advertise here. Guhahahaha. Nami, if you bring Luen, I will still feel scared. But you just came to me alone. Have you forgotten my horror? The evil dragon said arrogantly. But Nami at this time. But her eyes were filled with incomparable perseverance and self-confidence. Actually, the evil dragon has always been an invincible existence in Nami's mind. But since Luen first demonstrated the power of the magic wand, and gave the magic wand to Nami, until these days after Nami completely mastered the power of the magic wand. Nami was already convinced in his heart. Using the magic wand that Master Luen gave her, she can definitely defeat the dragon. Because the power of this magic wand is so powerful. Immediately afterwards, the Cadre tweeted and threatened coldly. Nami, if you dare to attack us, not only you will die, even the people in your village will die too. But think about it clearly. Still delusional for revenge. Heard these words, Nami is indeed a little nervous. If it fails this time, with the extremely cruel character of the evil dragon, she will definitely be slaughtered. It's not just her. The evil dragon will definitely not let everyone in Kokoja village. However, Nami calmed down and returned to an extremely firm look again. Evil dragon, stop talking nonsense. Today I will get rid of you. The voice fell. The pirates around suddenly carried their swords and walked towards Nami. To deal with a weak human like you, where do you need big brother dragon to do it? Look at the dragon brother. Let's cut Nami off. Wow, ha 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 ha. A dozen pirates carried their weapons and surrounded Nami. Nami suddenly narrowed his eyes. The magic weather stick in his hand was thrown forward. Thundercloud climate. With a sweet drink, only a dark cloud shot out from the top of the weather bar. Moment. This dark cloud has enveloped the entire evil dragon paradise. What? The pirate present was a little surprised. They all looked up at the sky. Can you summon a dark cloud? What is this? It's just pretending to be a fool. Everyone go together. Oh, the voice fell. A dozen pirates rushed towards Nami who was standing at the door. Thunder cloud sky thunder strike. Suddenly, but I saw dark clouds surging in the sky. Then a fierce thunder light fell directly from the sky. Boom. Thunder and lightning instantly enveloped the dozens of pirates who rushed over. What? Wow. Oh, with a few unwilling roars. Zila Zila. Thunder and lightning had already passed through these dozen or so pirates. These pirates stopped charging instantly, their eyes turned white, and blue smoke appeared on their bodies. Thump thump. Oh, what? Okay. So strong. These pirates all fell to the ground, their bodies have been chopped into coke by lightning. What? See this scene at this time. The expressions of the Cadres and Cadres crew suddenly changed drastically. Even the evil dragon couldn't help frowning. Humph. Nami sneered. The weather bar Luen gave her is really easy to use. It is a weapon that fits her perfectly. Good guy. Kill my compatriots with just one move. Nami. This thing Luen gave you is really good. The evil dragon said coldly. Although he watched Nami easily defeated his fellow pirates. But no matter. Nami is just a weak woman. Boom boom. There was still thunder in the dark clouds in the sky. It seems that thunder and lightning will drop again at any time. Suddenly, the Cadre Krubi and Chuo looked at each other, and the two of them walked towards Nami. Bounty hunter Luen actually gave you such a treasure. Nami, it seems that your strength has grown a lot in the past few days. But you killed our compatriots, this is never allowed in our pirate group. The voice fell. The two rushed towards Nami. Go to hell. Nami, dare to do it to the Murloc. But it's a capital crime. Both Cadres waved their fists and rushed towards Nami. But Nami didn't panic at all, and the magic weather wand in his hand waved out again. Cold wind gathers a mirage. Suddenly, however, Nami's figure seemed to fluctuate like a wave of water. What? Krubi and the Cadre punched at the same time. Their fists hit Nami, but they passed directly through Nami's body. What? The two Cadres were shocked. Their punch did not even hit Nami's entity, and then the phantom of Nami has disappeared. Immediately afterwards, but watching Nami's figure appear not far away again. She again waved the weather stick and pointed towards the dark clouds in the sky. Thunderstorm weather, thundercloud arrow. Boom. The thunder light in the dark clouds flickered suddenly. From the black cloud, there are countless small thunder arrows shot out. Swish swish. The speed of the lightning arrows was extremely fast and they shot down densely. What? Asshole. What is this? Krubi and Chuo were shot all over the body by this thundercloud sword in an instant. Moreover, the lightning also had a paralyzing effect, which kept the two of them immobile for a while. Tweet. Krubi, you are all accomplices of the evil dragon. Give me all to die. Sword of wind. Nami stretched out the magic weather rod, and unexpectedly released a strong wind at the top of the weather rod. The gust of wind is like a long sword, slashing directly towards the Cadre and Krubi. Originally, the two of them already had countless thunder cloud swords in their bodies, and their bodies had long been paralyzed and unable to move. So at this time there is no way to escape the slashing of the sword of wind. Pouch. Ouch! Under the splash of blood. Both Kruby and Tweet are already dripping with blood. What? Oh! The two cried out in pain. But with the sword of Gale the end. The two of them were already a bloody flesh. Thump thump. The two cadres also fell to the ground. Still yelling unwillingly. Good. So strong. Nami. Asshole. Asshole. The two Murloc cadres lay on the ground and almost lost their breath. See this scene. The dragon, who was still sitting on the reclining chair and drinking the juice leisurely, frowned steeply. He glanced at Kruby and Tweet first, then looked at Nami with a slightly wrinkled expression. The dragon's voice is already extremely low and gloomy. Guhahaha. Nami. It's like a different person. Luen. He really gave you a good thing. While talking, the evil dragon had already pulled out the peak-slashing sword from behind. Chapter 27 Thunder Cloud Lightning Gun. The dragon died in battle. Advertise here. At this time, the dragon has stood up. He carried the Zonfang knife in his hand and looked at Nami with a slight squint. Step to step, the evil dragon walked slowly towards Nami. The voice is already extremely angry. It seems you have forgotten my rules. Humans who attack the Murlocs. I will definitely execute it myself. Zzz. Zonfang's broadsword dragged on the ground with a harsh sound. Nami stood still, but her eyes were extremely determined, and there was no fear at all. This is due to the confidence brought about by the improvement of strength. Evil dragon. You bastard. Killed my mother that year. Then occupied Kokoja village for 8 years. Everyone in the village is bullied and squeezed by you. Damn it. I will personally kill you asshole Murloc today. Avenge for my mother. Nami roared. The evil dragon has always been an enemy in her heart. The reason for temporarily joining the dragon pirate group is just to protect everyone in Kokoja village. Now that Nami has obtained the magic weather wand given to her by Luen, her strength has been qualitatively improved. Guhahahaha. You said you want to avenge your mother. No way, Nami. Don't you know my strength yet? Do you think you can beat me just by relying on a stick Luen gave you? It's too ridiculous. Humble humans. The evil dragon has extreme confidence in his own strength. Even if Nami had defeated the cadres, he still didn't pay attention to Nami. Humans are humans. What's more, she was just a weak woman. In the eyes of the evil dragon, humans cannot be enemies of Murlocs at all. Step to step. Zzz. He dragged the peak sword and slowly walked towards Nami. That tall figure is extremely oppressive. But Nami at this time. It's already very different from Nami 10 days ago. She looked at the evil dragon coldly, no fear in her heart. I believe what Master Luen said. Master Luen said that as long as the master has this magic wand, he can defeat you. And only I will defeat you personally. Such rewards are meaningful. Yes, it was the dragon who killed Nami's foster mother, and it was the dragon who forcibly occupied the village of Kokoja. Nami must personally repay this grudge. The evil dragon suddenly narrowed his eyes and said. Guhahaha. In that case, Nami, then I will send you to see your mother. The voice fell. The dragon's pace suddenly quickened. Then his body shaped violently, holding Zonfang in his hand, directly slashed towards Nami. Go to hell. His speed and strength can be much higher than that of cadres. As the pirate with the highest bounty in East Blue, the dragon is extremely powerful. Seeing Nami, he didn't panic. First, his eyes drenched, and then the weather stick swung directly in his hand. Hoo. The weather rod turned into a blast of air. Cold wind gathering fantasy fairy. Suddenly, however, Nami's figure became illusory again. Then it turned into 5 Nami, all standing in place with weather sticks in their hands. The evil dragon's eyes in midair couldn't help but wonder. What, clone, or a phantom? But at this time the evil dragon can no longer control so much. Whatever you are, all of them will be cut off by me. Go to hell, although there are 5 Nami in front of me. The dragon's big hand suddenly swung out and slashed directly to the 2 Nami on the left. Zonfang crossed. The 2 Nami phantoms on the left suddenly broke apart. Humph. The dragon snorted coldly and slashed out again. The 2 Nami on the right were also directly broken apart. Only Nami in the middle remains. It seems you are the entity. The dragon sneered. The figure suddenly jumped in the air and slashed towards Nami. And this time. But there was a smile on the corner of Nami's eyes. Those visions have delayed Nami long enough. The weather stick in her hand pointed towards the dragon. Black balloon thundercloud whip. Boom. Several clusters of thunderclouds were released from the top of the weather stick, and the thunderclouds actually strung together, and then slammed toward the dragon like a whip. WTF. The thundercloud whip hit the evil dragon fiercely in an instant. Crackling. There was also a fierce thunder light above the thundercloud whip. What? The dragon only felt a sharp pain, and a scorched blood stain had appeared on his body. And this thundercloud whip is accompanied by a stronger lightning paralysis effect. What's going on? My body. I can't move it. The dragon was still in doubt. Another attack from Nami struck again. The weather stick in her hand pointed to the dark cloud in the sky again. Thundercloud climate. Words fall. Booming. The thunder light in the dark clouds flickered violently again. This time the power of thunder and lightning seemed to be greater than the previous attack. I saw a beam of thunder and lightning that was the size of a bowl suddenly smashed into the dark clouds. Moreover, the lightning beam turned out to be in the shape of a spear. Thundercloud lightning gun. This trick is specially reserved for you. Asshole dragon. The weather stick in Nami's hand suddenly pointed at the dragon. The electric light gun that was the size of a bowl suddenly penetrated directly towards the chest of the evil dragon. Pouch. Suddenly, the thundercloud electric light gun directly penetrated the dragon's chest. You know that thunder and lightning possesses extremely powerful destructive power, and it is also the most powerful move in the thundercloud climate that Nami can perform so far. Puff. The stun gun passed through the chest. At the same time, the evil dragon spurted out blood. The intense electric light numbs his tough body. Finally, only at this time. The evil dragon knew how ignorant he was. Puff. The thundercloud electric light gun has penetrated the dragon's chest. He fell on the ground and vomited another mouthful of blood. The blood had been scorched by the high temperature of the lightning, and even gave off a stench. The dragon can clearly feel that the vitality is fading rapidly. The body has also been out of control. Kang dang. With the peak-cutting sword in his hand falling to the ground, the evil dragon was dying and only half-breathed. Asshole. Asshole. So strong. Asshole. Luen. Damn Luen. He actually gives you such a powerful treasure. The eyes of the evil dragon were full of hatred. And at this time Nami already raised the Zonfeng broadsword that fell to the ground with both hands. Pouch. The dragon's head has been chopped off. Finally. Everything is classified as silence. Chapter 28 Luoen's speechlessness. When did I accept her as a disciple? Advertise here. Inside the evil dragon paradise. There is already silence. The corpses all over the floor emit a stench, and the air is still full of the smell of roasted meat. On the head of the evil dragon, despair and unwillingness were revealed in his eyes. He never thought of it. He would be beheaded by Nami. Even before he died, he was scolding Luen. It was Luen who gave Nami a weapon to defeat him. If not, there is no need for the evil dragon to act in person. Nami can be easily dealt with just by sending a cadre. As everyone knows, although this magic weather wand was given to Nami by Luen, Nami's talent is also excellent, and even the master got the magic weather wand in such a short time. Just now when she was alone against the dragon pirates. Almost never used repeated moves. It is conceivable. Nami has fully mastered the master. At this time. Looking at the dead dragon. Nami was already sitting on the ground, and then couldn't help crying. Ooh, Master Luen. Thank you so much. It was you who let me personally slay the enemy of the evil dragon. It is true. Others helped Nami defeat the dragon and Nami personally defeated the dragon. The meaning of these two methods is different. The evil dragon is Nami's mother-killing enemy, and also enslaved her entire village, exploiting the bastard who oppresses the entire village. Now, Nami personally slayed the dragon. The mother's grievances were avenged, and the village of Kokasia was also liberated. These things were done by Nami himself. Master Luen. I finally killed the dragon myself. Sure enough, as you said, it makes more sense to kill enemies with your own hands. Nami knelt on the ground and cried involuntarily. So many years of hatred and anger have finally been released today. As everyone knows, Luen asked her to come and deal with the evil dragon by herself, just because Luen was too lazy. But from Nami's point of view, she thought that Luen made such an arrangement on purpose. Because only by slaying the dragon with her own hands can she have revenge. ... And just now, sickle GGGGG, with extremely sharp laughter. A wretched-looking Colonel Marine in white clothes has walked in. It is Colonel Mouse. A line of soldiers followed behind him. Colonel Mouse first glanced at Nami, then at the evil dragon. Sickle GGGGG, as the evil dragon dead. What a good thing. In this way, the treasure of the dragon pirates is mine. Oh no, it should be our marine. Hey GGGG. The voice fell. Nami looked back subconsciously. 4 marine soldiers are carrying a box. The box was covered with dirt, as if it had just been dug out from the ground. This is the box I buried under the orange tree. Nami gritted his teeth and shouted. These 8 years. In order to be able to redeem Kokoja village from the evil dragon, Nami conscientiously saved nearly 100 million Baileys. And she packed the money in a box and buried it under the orange tree in Kokoja village. But at this time, her deposit was dug out by Colonel Mouse. What is your money? The money is illegally obtained. It should be confiscated. Since you killed the dragon pirate group, I won't arrest you. But the money will all be confiscated by Marine. Colonel Mouse couldn't help showing a smug smile on his face. And Nami. In fact, she had long discovered that Colonel Mouse had colluded with the dragon pirates. I couldn't help but feel angry. Immediately picked up the magic weather stick and stood up. His eyes were full of killing intent. ... 2 days later. East Blue. Gal Island. After sending away Zoro and Nami, and then forcing Marine Smoker to leave. Luen has lived a leisurely life for several days comfortably. Sleep all day until you wake up naturally. Go fishing when nothing is wrong, it feels very comfortable. Inside the pub, Luen just stepped in the door. Mr. Luen. Mr. Luen, you are here. Every time Luen comes, people around will respectfully greet Luen. Now Luen has become a well-known figure in Gal Island. It is also because of Luen. The pirates nearby have long since escaped. Even the world's best swordsman, Hawkeye Mihawk, was defeated by Luen. These East Blue pirates dare not come to Gal Island to provoke Luen. The residents of Gal Island even regard Luen as the protector of Gal Island. So they are also very grateful to Luen. When Luen came to the pub to drink, the guests rushed to check out and pay for him, but the shop owner directly waved Luen, saying that he would not charge Luen for anything. Of course, the money Luen should give is no less. Luen's recent deeds have also become a source of conversation for everyone in the tavern. Defeat Mihawk Hawkeye with one move. The apprentice bounty hunter Zoro. The beauty Nami stayed in Luen's room all night long. Subduing Colonel Marine Smoker with his bare hands. All kinds of deeds seemed not to be tired of talking about them at all. For these, Luen is also not surprising. Since defeating Hawkeye, Luen knew that he would no longer be as leisurely as before. After entering the pub, Luen sat directly at the front desk. As usual, the guy at the front desk handed Luen a glass of black floating wine. And this time, many guests in the pub came up. Mr. Luen. Do you know the recent news on the sea? The woman in this newspaper looks like Nami. It's the beauty who spent the night in your room a few days ago. Should you remember? Come here, let you see. Everyone was talking. Someone handed over some newspapers. The newspaper has a headline. Exposure to the Marine Scandal. Colonel Marine Mouse is secretly colluding with the Dragon Pirates. Close black lens bracket. The evil dragon and pirate group is destroyed. Luen's disciple Nami. Close black lens bracket. Official thief collusion. Where is marine justice? Close black lens bracket. After seeing these headlines on the news, Luen couldn't help but stroke his forehead with helplessness. He was not surprised that Nami was able to use the magic weather stick to defeat the dragon pirates. As a traverser, he already knew about the collusion between Colonel Mouse and the dragon pirates, so he didn't feel surprised. But what makes Luen feel speechless the most is the headline, Luen's Nami, in news reports. What does this mean? When did I agree to accept Nami as a disciple? Chapter 29 Luen's Foresight. Advertise here. At this time, the tavern also quickly became lively. Mr. Luen. I didn't expect that even Nami would become your apprentice. That's a superb beauty. I really envy you. Only Luen seemed to be twitching his mouth. Kakuzu. Envy. What's so envious of this? Nami, this woman will only cause him trouble. Since defeating Hawkeye Mihawk, Luen has finally been silent for so long. Luen just doesn't want to be noticeable. However, now there are news reports about the demise of the dragon pirates, and the report even mentions Luen's name. What is Luen's disciple Nami? Luen didn't even know when he accepted Nami as a disciple. This evil little fairy. But at this time, the explanation is useless. Luen had to shook his head and sighed helplessly. Immediately afterwards, people around began to rant. The Mouse Colonel of Marine 16 branch colluded with the Dragon Pirates. This is a scandal of Marine. Sure enough, there are scum like Colonel Mouse in Marine. Mr. Luen did the right thing. He directly declined the invitation to join Marine. It seems that Mr. Luen has the foresight. Mr. Luen has long known that Marine also has an unsightly dark side, so he did not choose to go with Marine. Heard these words, Luen only felt speechless for a while. What kind of foresight? When Luen refused to join Marine's invitation, he didn't think it was so complicated at all. After all, although there are scumbags among Marines, most of the Marines are good. There is only one reason why he refused to join Marine's invitation. It was because he didn't want to be bound by rules, and he didn't want to obey other people's orders. That's it. By the way, Mr. Luen, I remember the little girl Nami said that she will come back to serve you after revenge, right? Stay by your side in the name of an apprentice. Tisk tusk tusk tusk. Mr. Luen really knows how to play. Everyone couldn't help but joke with Luen. The residents of the island have been with Luen for many years, and they have become familiar with each other a long time ago. Therefore, people occasionally joked. Now the tavern is filled with a cheerful atmosphere. At the same time, East Blue, Logue Town. The Marine branch office was filled with smoke. Smoker leaned Erlang's legs on the desk, with 2 cigars in his mouth, and looked very happy. Dong dong dong. With the knock on the door, the office door opened. Tashigi walked in. Cough cough cough. Mr. Smoker. Why are you smoking again? Open the office window and wait for the smoke to clear. Tashigi put a report on his desk. What's the matter? Smoker couldn't help asking. Tashigi replied, Mr. Smoker. Now there is a scandal involving Marine and pirates colluding with each other, which is spreading at sea. A Marine soldier reported that Colonel Rat and the Dragon Pirates were in collusion. The words are over. Smoker couldn't help frowning. Colonel Mouse from Marine Division 16. The dragon with the highest bounty in East Blue. Collusion between the two of them. This kind of news is very unfavorable to the image of Marine. Where are they now? I will never allow this to happen. Marine has always been an image of justice in people's minds. But now there is news that Marine and the pirates are colluding with officials. This will undoubtedly damage Marine's image. That's why Smoker wants to go out and solve this problem himself. Report to Mr. Smoker. Now Colonel Mouse and the dragon are killed. It was a bounty hunter named Nami who killed them. Tashigi replied. A bounty hunter again. Smoker frowned suddenly. Since being subdued by Luen with his bare hands, he is now a little confused when he hears the name of the bounty hunter. Paused. Tashigi went on to add. According to the bounty hunter Nami himself. She is Luoen's apprentice, so she is also a bounty hunter. Because of Luoen's help to her, she was able to defeat the dragon pirates. Snapped. Smoker didn't stand firm. Then he couldn't help but look a little embarrassed. Forehead. Luen again. When did this guy accept an apprentice? Speaking of which, Tashigi replied again. Speaking of Luoen's apprentice. I just came back from the weapon shop in town. I heard from the owner of the weapon shop that 3 bounty hunters went to buy knives a few days ago, and they also took away the 3rd generation ghost sword from the store. The lead bounty hunter has short green hair, just like the East Blue bounty hunter, Rorno Zoro. The other 2 should be his little brothers. But the most important thing is the 3 bounty hunters. The 3 of them also claim to be Luoen's apprentices. The voice fell. Smoker suddenly showed horror. What? 3 bounty hunters? Why did 3 apprentices pop up again? He couldn't help feeling speechless for a while. Good. In Logue Town, the 3 bounty hunters from 3rd generation were taken away. It was the trio of bounty hunters headed by Zoro. Zoro, Johnny, Joseph. They had left East Blue for the Grand Line a few days ago. Oh, forget it, except disciples or something, these are not important. Smoker sighed and said, go and investigate the matter of Colonel Mouse. Dare to collude with the evil dragon, Colonel Mouse is indeed damn. We must not let people have a negative view of Marine. Sigh heavily again. Smoker is of course a righteous Marine. Therefore, he is extremely disgusted with the scum of Colonel Mouse, and it is precisely because of the existence of this Marine that it will ruin Marine's reputation. Wait until Tashigi leaves. Smoker couldn't help but admired and said. Luoen na Luoen. No wonder you don't want to join Marine. It turns out that you have known that there is such a scum in Marine. You even sent your apprentice Nami to kill them. It's really a shame to Marine. Chapter 30 Soaring Strength. Master's Cheats. Advertise here. Grand Line. Alabasta. Zoro, Johnny, and Joseph were walking in the endless wind and sand. Over the past half-month. Apart from sleeping, they are constantly practicing hard. In order for Master Luen to recognize them, they dare not relax in the slightest. Johnny couldn't help saying, Boss Zoro, Joseph, did you find out? Although the 3 cheats that Master gave us seem extremely complicated, when we read them carefully, it seems that those swordsmanship and hockey will be engraved in our minds. And it only takes a few days to practice, as if you have become a master. Our strength has improved so fast. Hear what Johnny said. Joseph also nodded in agreement. Yes, while reading the cheats. The knowledge in these cheats is like a trickle, flowing into my mind. It's completely imprinted in my mind, and I can't get rid of it at all. It only takes a few days of practice to be able to read the swordsmanship and hockey that the master can read. My 2 little brothers also said the same. Zoro expressed the same feeling. Do you feel that way too? I thought it was because I had the highest talent, so I realized the fastest. It seems that we all have this feeling. The secrets that Master gave us are amazing, right? It is true. When they read the cheats, the contents of the cheats will automatically be imprinted in their minds. It only takes a few days to cultivate these abilities, and you can fully integrate these abilities of swordsmanship hockey in a short time. Therefore, their strength can also be said to be progressing rapidly. Today's Zoro trio, they have almost mastered half of the advanced swordsmanship in the cheat book, and even mastered the primary use of armed color and observation hockey. Just imagine. How terrible is this? Only half a month's time. Zoro has already mastered the use of hockey, and their swordsmanship has also been upgraded to a considerable level. They seem to be reborn, and their strength has made a qualitative leap. Thank you, Master. Master actually gave us this kind of treasure. Our strength can improve so fast, but thanks to Master. Zoro said thoughtfully. Johnny and Joseph nodded gratefully in agreement. Yeah, thank you Master so much. If we only rely on ourselves to bury our heads in practice, I am afraid that 5 years of practice will not be able to rise to this point. If we can practice these 3 advanced cheats, I'm afraid I can become a first-class swordsman. It's really good. With these 3 advanced cheats, their cultivation speed has already surpassed ordinary people. If it takes more than half a month to practice all the remaining contents of the cheat book, then the 3 of them will definitely be able to become first-class swordsmen. Advanced swordsmanship, advanced armed color, advanced observation hockey. Already enough to make their strength jump to a very strong point. At this time, their gratitude and admiration for Luen has reached an extreme. So they made up again. Although the Master is not by our side, in fact, the Master is teaching us all the time. The 3 cheats that Master gave us are the best proof that he is teaching us personally. So we must never disappoint Master's expectations of us. The look in their eyes became more determined. Dot 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 dot. And just now, sudden, boom boom, there were several explosions in front. The three Zoro frowned suddenly and looked forward. A figure appeared in the wind and sand. The man who appeared was tall, with large white curly hair, and his waist and abdomen were scorched black. At this moment, he was faltering and fleeing, and his mouth kept provoking behind him. Come and kill me. It's fine if you all chase me down. The princess left Alabasta long ago. She will definitely ask for help. Puff, spouted a mouthful of blood. The middle-aged man knelt on the ground. And this time, a sharp smile came from the sand not far away. Ahahaha, Captain Ikaram of the Kingdom Guard, our mission is just to kill you. Mr. One has gone to hunt down the princess. Do you think the princess will survive? With the voice falling, in midair, there appeared a woman holding an umbrella and dressed very fashionable. The most strange thing was that this woman was floating in midair. Hearing what the woman said, Ikaram was shocked. Immediately afterwards, there was another low voice. Ikaram, stop resisting. With your strength, it is absolutely impossible to be my opponent with Miss Valentine. Any one of us can easily kill you. Another man with an explosive head came out in the wind and sand. The Afro man wore a brown trench coat and sunglasses, just like a rock singer. See these two secret agents. Ikaram frowned and said. Mr. 5, Miss Valentine. You two bastards. The princess will be fine. She will definitely ask for help to save this country. Princess Vivi has already escaped from Alabasta. Therefore, the two agents, Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine, came to hunt Ikaram. The princess of the kingdom is going to East Blue to find the help of the bounty hunter Luen, right? I told you just now. Mr. 1, the strongest killer of our Baroque work club, he has personally gone to hunt the princesses of your kingdom. But you have no chance to collect the body for the princess of the kingdom. Wow ha 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 ha. Accompanied by a sharp smile. Miss Valentine in midair has flown over Ikaram's head. She is a light lion fruit capable person, able to control her weight from 1 kilogram to 10,000 kilograms. Ikaram's face was ashes, at this time, but Miss Valentine sneered. Go to hell, 1,000 kilograms, 5,000 kilograms, 10,000 kilograms. The figure quickly fell towards Ikaram. If she was hit by her, it would be crushed into meat sauce instantly. What? Ikaram roared, struggling to leap to the side. Boom. Miss Valentine punched a big hole in the ground. Ikaram had previously fought hard to avoid the attack. Woo, Ikaram gasped. If I strike again, I'm afraid it will be dead. And just now, rustle. There were rustling footsteps not far away. Then three figures appeared. Have the princess of your kingdom go to East Blue. What does she have to go to East Blue to find our master Luen? Our master Luen is very busy and doesn't like troublesome things. Just tell us anything. It was a trio of bounty hunters headed by Zoro. Chapter 31. Where is Princess Vivi? Spike Mr. 1. Advertise here. East Blue. Gal Island. It was late at night and there was no one on the street. Luen lay leisurely by the dock. Since there are always pedestrians passing by during the day, and local residents will greet Luen. That's why the silence of the night belongs to Luen alone. Hoo. Luen's mid-length hair flutters freely with the sea breeze. Wow. The waves are also coming wave after wave. In this extremely quiet atmosphere, it seemed extraordinarily relaxed and cozy. This is the leisurely and comfortable life that Luen wants. Luen raised his hip flask up to the sky and took a sip. It's a lot of fun. Open the system panel. Open black lens bracket host. Luen close black lens bracket. Age. 24 years old. Open black lens bracket physique. 19,120 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket weapon. Ryujin Jaka close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket swordsmanship. Pinnacle close black lens bracket. Physique. Pinnacle. Conqueror's Hockey. The Peak. Open black lens bracket armament hockey. The Peak close black lens bracket. Observation hockey. Peak. Open black lens bracket fruit. None close black lens bracket. After these days of perseverance, check in and clock in. Luen's physique point has reached 19,000, which is 1,900 times that of ordinary people. The zone fruit and paramesha fruit in devil fruit can greatly improve the physical fitness of the capable person. But for Luen, he doesn't need to eat devil fruit at all, and his physique far exceeds that of most capable people. The most intuitive impact of physical improvement is that it can increase the power and speed of Luen, which is of great help to swordsmanship and physical skills. Such a strong physical fitness. It can be described as horror. Luen suddenly narrowed his eyes, seeing and hearing the color released. On the sea ahead, a small boat was found slowly approaching. There is a famous woman with a weak breath on the small boat. The woman holds a paddle in both hands and is slowly paddling in the direction of Gal Island. Luen sat up helplessly and looked at the boat ahead. There was a slender woman on the boat, with messy aqua blue hair over her shoulders, and mud and blood stains hanging on her clothes. Princess Vivi. Why did she come here? Luen recognized the identity of the woman on the boat at a glance. But even he himself never expected that Princess Vivi, who was far away on the Grand Line, would come to East Blue Gal Island alone. No need to guess, Luen knows in his heart. Princess Vivi must have come to East Blue to find herself because she heard news reports on the sea. Harmful. Thousands of things should never be done. Just shouldn't defeat Hawkeye. Trouble. Luen couldn't help but vomit. In the past 3 years, he lived on Gal Island quite leisurely and comfortably. It was because Hawkeye had to force him to take action, which caused so many things to follow. The people from East Blue come to Luen and forget it. Why do even the people from Grand Line come to him? What a trouble. I thought so in my heart. Princess Vivi had noticed Luen, and she immediately paddled in the direction of Luen. Then the boat finally landed. Princess Vivi staggered up to the pier, and then hobbled towards Luen. Her voice was still a little faint, and her expression was haggard. This gentleman. Excuse me, is this Gal Island? Luen predecessors, are they right here? With the voice falling, Princess Vivi closed her eyes abruptly, and fell straight forward toward Luen like this. Thump. Luen caught Princess Vivi subconsciously. Princess Vivi has lost consciousness. Obviously after these days of traveling, and she seems to be injured, so the body is so tired and weak. Looking at Princess Vivi who has fainted in her arms. Luen couldn't help feeling helpless. Moreover, under his perception, he also found that a ship was approaching not far away. On the ship not far away, there is a strong man. The codename of the agent of the Baroque Work Agency is Mr. One, and his real name is Dasbonus, who is known for his ferocity and cruelty. Holding a telescope in his hand, he looked towards the pier ahead. Just now, after seeing Princess Vivi go ashore, she fell weakly into the arms of a young man. In that case, I will kill you all. Dasbonus gave a grimace. Suddenly, he saw it. The man on the pier first put down Princess Vivi, and then stepped on one foot and jumped towards his ship. Step. Falling with the sound of footsteps. The man was already standing in front of Dasbonus. Who are you? Dasbonus asked warily. Luen. In line with the principle of no change of name, no change of surname. Luen replied lightly. However, after hearing Luen's name, Dasbonus's eyes widened. What? You are the strongest bounty hunter, Luen? The man who defeated Hawkeye. Could it be that I have come to Gal Island in East Blue? Asshole. He finally found out now. I followed Princess Vivi all the way, and even tracked to Gal Island. The key is, he still ran into Luen now. Step to step. Luen walked towards Dasbonus unhurriedly. Dasbonus. Are you the killer of the Baroque Job Club? Gal Island can't let a dangerous guy like you set foot on it. Seeing Luen walking slowly towards him, he was full of hostility. Dasbonus' heart suddenly began to panic. But at this time there is no other way. Dasbonus still chose to stand up. His hands turned into blades, and he slashed directly at the oncoming Luen. Asshole. Let me learn about the strength of the strongest bounty hunter. Moat slash. The blades made by Dasbonus's hands are so sharp that they can even cut the boulders easily. However, but seeing Luen also raised his hands. Kang. Luen's hands were directly blocked by Dasbonus's attack. What? How can it be? You actually blocked my attack with bare hands. Dasbonus looked at this scene with eyes full of disbelief. Luen actually blocked his attack with his bare hands without using a weapon. But Luen jokingly smiled. Interesting. Want to learn my strength? You are far from qualified. The voice fell. Stretch out with one hand directly. Click. Dasbonus's head tilted, and his eyes turned white abruptly. Luen's neck has been directly squeezed off. The dead can't die anymore. With a quick throw, Dasbonus was thrown into the sea. Chapter 32. Please do it. Advertise here. The next day. When the early morning light shone into the hospital lounge. Princess Vivi groaned and opened her eyes. He sat up and looked around subconsciously, and found that there was only one female nurse in this lounge. Ah, are you awake? The nurse smiled when she saw Princess Vivi wake up. Suddenly, when Princess Vivi thought of something, she immediately stood up on the bed and asked the nurse. Please, excuse me, as this Gal Island, I have something very important to find Senior Luen. Her expression was extremely nervous. I went to East Blue from Alabasta on the Grand Line to meet East Blue's bounty hunter Luen. And indeed, as Luen said, she wanted Luen to defeat the Sand Crocodile in order to save Alabasta. Princess Vivi is trying to save her kingdom. She has been sailing at sea for nearly half a month. Finally last night, I reached Gal Island. Don't you know this girl? The nurse smiled softly. It was Luen who entered the hospital with you, who was in a coma earlier in the middle of the night last night. After hearing the news, Princess Vivi breathed a sigh of relief, and then there was a blush on Chao's face. I immediately recalled what happened last night in my mind and underestimated. Mr. Luen took me into the hospital. Could it be that the man on the pier last night was Mr. Luen? Although the night is a bit dim and I am still dazed, I still vaguely remember that the man looked handsome last night. For so many years, except for their parents, no one has ever hugged themselves. Thought of this. The blush on Princess Vivi's face was a little bit more. But now is not the time to think about it. She shook her head and settled. So he got up from the bed and asked the nurse sister. Where does Mr. Luen live? I really have very urgent things to find Mr. Luen. Please. The nurse told Princess Vivi where Luen lived. Princess Vivi braced her weak body and staggered out of the lounge. Cabins. Luen also stretched his waist and just woke up from his sleep. As if he had realized that Princess Vivi was coming, he pushed open the door of the wooden house directly. Princess Vivi really stood in front of the door, looking at Luen with joy. Except for Princess Vivi, other local residents also gathered around. Mr. Luen is really amazing. Another such pretty little girl came to him. Last night, Mr. Luen personally took her to the hospital. According to the people in the hospital, it was because the girl's body was too tired. Too tired. As expected of Mr. Luen. Everyone was talking about it. They all looked at Luen with strange eyes, and then smiled thoughtfully. Only Princess Vivi's face was reddened. From everyone's mouth, she already knew that the handsome man in front of her was Luen, who had recently become famous on the sea. In front of so many people present. Puff. Princess Vivi directly knelt down to Luen in public. The people present haven't reacted yet. Then I heard Princess Vivi say. Senior Luen, my name is Nefeltari Vivi, Alabasta from Grand Line, the princess of the kingdom. First of all, thank you for taking me to the hospital last night. The voice fell. The people present immediately looked at each other in astonishment and said. What? She is a princess. The princess of Alabasta. Mr. Luen is really good, even the princess is looking for him. No wonder it is so beautiful and temperamental. It turned out to be the princess of the kingdom, and it was from the country of Grand Line. Too envious. Everyone was talking about it. Envy. What are you envious of? Luen couldn't help but complain. You don't need to guess what Princess Vivi will say next. As predicted. But she saw Princess Vivi continue. Senior Luen, this time I came here to look for you on Gal Island. I really have an unsympathetic request. Please be sure to agree. It's the same words again. This scene is similar to the last time Nami kneeled in public. The people present have already taken offense. Since Mr. Luen defeated Hawkeye, people have come to him one after another. Nowadays, after a few days of leisurely life, I didn't expect that even the people from Grand Line would come to Luen. Sure enough, it seems that everyone who comes to Mr. Luen wants to ask Mr. Luen for help. It's no wonder that Mr. Luen said that he only wanted to keep a low profile and didn't want to be too ostentatious, because Mr. Luen didn't want people to trouble him all the time. I finally understand Mr. Luen's thoughts. Hear the comments from people around. Princess Vivi couldn't help biting her lip, and swallow the words that had just arrived in her mouth. Why can Mr. Luen help me? What does my country's difficulties have to do with Mr. Luen? But if you give up this opportunity today, what about the kingdom? Thought of this, Princess Vivi settled down, still muster the courage to say to Luen. Senior Luen, Alabasta is being killed by the sand crocodile. I want you to beat the bastard sand crocodile. Save our country. The voice fell, after hearing the name of the sand crocodile. The people present suddenly boiled. What? I heard it right. Sand crocodile. I remember him glancing at Mihawk, one of the 7 warlords of the sea. Princess Vivi actually asked Mr. Luen to defeat the sand crocodile. He is the 7 warlords of the sea recognized by the world government. Mr. Luen can't provoke the world government. Hear what these people are saying. Princess Vivi explained the sand crocodile's atrocities in Alabasta. It was the sand crocodile who wanted to seize the power of the kingdom, and it was his persecution that caused the people of the kingdom to suffer from drought, which made the people feel unhappy. Talking about the atrocities of the sand crocodile over and over again. Princess Vivi's eyes turned red, and then Iwa cried with rain. If no one can defeat sand crocodile. Not only will the kingdom's power be seized, but more people in our kingdom will be persecuted. Please, Mr. Luen, please help our kingdom. People around saw it. Can't help but sigh with pity. To save our country and people. The princess of the kingdom came to East Blue from the Grand Line alone, not far away. You can imagine how many dangers she encountered along the way. Her spirit is indeed very admirable. Chapter 33 Sand Crocodile defeated. Everyone's brain fills up. Advertise here. As the princess of the kingdom. But he personally came to East Blue Gal Island 1,000 miles away alone, just to seek Luen's help. Can imagine how many dangers Princess Vivi encountered along the way. And this time. But someone complained. There is always war in the world. This is a world where the weak and the strong eat the strong. Success and failure is the norm throughout the ages. Is it because their country is too weak? So do you need Mr. Luen's help? If all those who need help come to Mr. Luen, wouldn't Mr. Luen be so busy? Those marine and world government who claim to be righteous eat dry food. Hear what this person said. The people around suddenly bowed their heads and said nothing. It is true. There are so many people in this world who need help. If all came to find Luen, wouldn't Luen be busy dying? Luen is just a bounty hunter. He has no responsibility or obligation to help Alabasta. Isn't Marine claiming justice? Don't the world government pretend to be a just rule? So why are they indifferent to Alabasta? Princess Vivi's face has become more and more red. Yes. Why does Luen help her country? Princess Vivi's tears could not stop her eyes. Even in her mind, it seemed that the scene of the collapse of the country could be imagined. And from the beginning to the end, Luen didn't say anything. Princess Vivi knew in her heart that Luen rejected her request. She could only kneel on the ground and sob non-stop. And just now, suddenly there was a voice not far away. Hey, there is big news about Grand Line. The Sand Crocodile, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, is defeated. The one who defeated the Sand Crocodile is Mr. Luoen's apprentice Zoro and the others. ... The voice fell. Everyone present was dumbfounded. What's the problem? Originally, Princess Vivi was still begging Luen to take action, begging Luen to go and defeat Crocodile the Sand Crocodile. But news of the defeat of the Sand Crocodile. The key is, it was Zoro who defeated the Sand Crocodile. The people around looked at each other and said in disbelief. What? I heard it right. The Sand Crocodile of 7 warlords of the sea was defeated by Mr. Luoen's apprentice Zoro. How is this possible? Is the news reliable? With this question issued, the visitor immediately handed over a newspaper. This newspaper should have spread all over the sea, there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. The content published in the newspaper is exactly 7 warlords of the sea Sand Crocodile defeated. Luen, a trio of bounty hunters. Close black lens bracket. Everyone looked at this report. The eyes were full of consternation. Especially Princess Vivi. The expression was most excited at this time. Sand Crocodile really defeated. Is it really defeated? Even she couldn't believe the news. To know, she came to East Blue Gal Island specifically to invite Luen to go to Alabasta to defeat the Sand Crocodile. But now there is news that the Sand Crocodile has been defeated. The key is, the person who defeated Sand Crocodile was actually Luoen's apprentice. Princess Vivi took the newspaper and read it carefully. The newspaper described the incident in detail. The news is true. The news is indeed true. The Sand Crocodile is defeated. The Sand Crocodile was really defeated. Princess Vivi's tight face suddenly collapsed like a bank. She traveled thousands of miles to East Blue Gal Island just to ask Luen to go out of the mountain to defeat the Sand Crocodile. But never thought of it. This Sand Crocodile has been defeated by Luen's apprentice. Princess Vivi blushed and wept. Admiration for Luen suddenly rose in my heart. She was grateful and bowed her head directly. Master Luen. It turns out that you have known this kind of thing happened in our kingdom, so you have specially arranged your apprentice to defeat the Sand Crocodile. I am all on behalf of Alabasta, thank you for your great kindness. Bang bang bang. Princess Vivi kowtows in public. The voice fell. Even Luen felt speechless for a while. What on earth is Princess Vivi trying to make up for? Luen never arranged Zoro and the others to defeat Shichibukai. But Princess Vivi actually thought it was all Luen's arrangement. People around you are also full of praise. As expected of you, Lord Luen. Mr. Luen, you should have known that Princess Vivi would come for help, so you arranged Zoro and the others to go to the Grand Line, right? Your single-handed arrangement is really admirable, I admire it so much. Everyone also expressed their admiration for Luen. Only Luen was confused. Although Luen is a traverser, he never thought that Princess Vivi would come to East Blue to find him, and never thought that Zoro would defeat the Sand Crocodile. What kind of brain supplement is this? Luen asked Zoro and the others to go to the Grand Line, obviously just to prevent Zoro and the others from disturbing themselves. At this time, they were so misunderstood by these people, misunderstanding that Luen had foresight, so they arranged Zoro to go to the Grand Line to defeat the Sand Crocodile. Chapter 34 Marine's shock. Even the apprentice is so strong. Advertise here. At this time, someone could not help but raise doubts. Sand Crocodile is one of the 7 warlords of the sea that is as famous as Hawkeye. Could it be that with the strength of the 3 Zoro and the others, can they defeat a strong like Sand Crocodile? You must know that it has only been about half a month since they went to sea. Has their strength been improved to this level? Everyone looked at each other with such suspicions. To know, although Zoro is a famous bounty hunter in East Blue. But the Sand Crocodile is 7 warlords of the sea, not an ordinary pirate. Just about half a month. Can Zoro's strength be raised to the point where they can defeat Sand Crocodile? It's incredible. Haven't waited for Luen to answer. Suddenly someone realized. I remember now. It's those 3 cheats. Mr. Luen handed Zoro and the others 3 cheats to improve their strength. Everyone in Joe nodded after hearing it. It seems that the cheats that Mr. Luen gave to Zoro are invaluable. It turned out to be able to give their strength such a huge improvement in a short period of time. Although the Sand Crocodile is also 7 warlords of the sea, his strength should not be better than Hawkeye. It is true. Among 7 warlords of the sea, from the perspective of Hawkeye's strength, he can be regarded as the strongest in Shichibukai. Only Luen felt speechless for a while in the presence. Today's newspapers have such eye-catching headlines as, Luen's apprentice. A few days ago, Nami, who claimed to be an apprentice of Luen, defeated the dragon and pirates and exposed the collusion between Colonel Marine Mouse and the pirates. Today, another trio of bounty hunters who claimed to be Luen defeated the 7 warlords of the sea crocodile, causing Princess Vivi to misunderstand that this was Luen's arrangement. Luen sighed heavily, paused. He said to Princess Vivi, "Get up." Princess Vivi got up when she heard it, but the admiration and gratitude for Luen filled her eyes and heart. In the eyes of Princess Vivi, Luen is Alabasta's great benefactor. It was Luen who arranged for his apprentices to go to Alabas and defeated the sand crocodile. Thanks, Lord Luen. Princess Vivi yelled respectfully. But when she looked at Luen, there was already something in her eyes. And just now, suddenly someone said in surprise, "Look, what is that?" Looking in the direction of the finger, he found a corpse floating on the shore in front of him. Princess Vivi recognized the identity of the corpse at a glance. Mr. One Killer. He must have come to hunt me down. Why is it dead? So everyone looked at Luen subconsciously. Since it is a killer from Grand Line, it seems that only Mr. Luen has the ability to kill him. No doubt, this corpse must have been killed by Mr. Luen. Good. It was indeed Luen who killed Dasbonus last night and threw his body into the sea to feed the fish. I didn't expect it. Dasboni's body was not eaten by the fish, and it floated to Gal Island today. Suddenly, Princess Vivi was very moved. Master Luen. It turns out that you have been silently doing so much. You not only arranged for your apprentice to go to Alabasta to defeat the sand crocodile, but you also quietly killed Mr. One, the killer who came to chase me. I'm so touched. Except for my parents, only you have been the best to me since I was young. Speaking of which, Princess Vivi was so moved that she cried. Forehead. See this scene. Luen couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. The reason why he wanted to kill Dasbonus last night was because he felt that Dasbonus was too dangerous, and he didn't want such a dangerous guy to enter Gal Island, so as not to hurt the local residents. Just for this reason. But Luen never expected that Princess Vivi would be moved to tears again because of this incident. At the same time, under much coverage in the news media, the news of the defeat of Sand Crocodile, one of 7 warlords of the sea, has spread throughout the sea. Marine Headquarters Marineford. In the office, Garp sitting on the sofa laughed and laughed as he ate the donuts. Wow, ha 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 ha. The sand crocodile bastard wanted to usurp Alabasta's power and killed so many innocent people. Now he should be on his way to Impel Grand Prison. Ha 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 ha. But Sengoku, who was sitting at the desk, still frowned. Looks a little unpleasant. But the most important thing is, the one who defeated the sand crocodile was not our Marine, but the bounty hunter. This has a big impact on Marine's image. And because of the identity of the sand crocodile 7 warlords of the sea, even the face of the world government is greatly compromised. Now it has spread across the sea. 7 warlords of the sea crocodile tried to seek power to usurp the throne, and the world government and Marine let their evil deeds. Such remarks. There is no doubt that it has greatly damaged the image of Marine and world government in the eyes of the people. Garp didn't seem to care about it. Wow, ha 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 ha. I heard that these 3 bounty hunters are all Luen's apprentices. Unexpectedly, just as Luen's apprentices, they would be able to defeat the sand crocodile of 7 warlords of the sea. It seems that the strength of this kid Luen is truly unfathomable. Hawkeye Mihawk didn't lose unjustly. Wow, ha 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 ha. It is true. Even the apprentice can defeat the sand crocodile of 7 warlords of the sea. So how powerful is Luen as a master? Heard these words. Sengoku couldn't help but nodded. The world government has begun to pay close attention to Luen again. Even his apprentice can defeat sand crocodile. As a master, his strength must be extremely terrifying. Such a pity. Such a strong man is unwilling to join Marine. Chapter 35 East Blue. The Golden Lion is coming. Advertise here. New World. Dressrosa. Inside the palace city, Doflamingo sits on the sofa, holding a glass of red wine in his hand. This fellow crocodile was defeated by a bounty hunter, and the one who defeated him was only Luen's apprentice. It's really shameful. Raised the red wine glass and took a sip. The expression is extremely satisfying. Torapal, one of the cadres of the Don Quixote family, was standing behind Doflamingo at this time. Dover. This is a bounty hunter named Luen. I think it is very worthy of attention. Doflamingo was puzzled. Oh. Come and listen. Paused. Torapal replied with a runny nose. Dover. Even his apprentice can defeat the sand crocodile. Imagine it. How strong is Luen? And more than half a month ago, at sea, it was rumored that he defeated Hawkeye with one move. I think this guy is very worthy of attention. Heard these words. Doflamingo couldn't help nodding. As 7 warlords of the sea, he naturally knows how strong Eagle Eye is. At least in Shichibukai, the strength of Hawkeye Mihawk is definitely the top existence. But even such a top-notch swordsman in the world was still defeated by Luen with one move. Enough to see the strength of Luen. It makes sense, Torapal. But Luen seems to be staying in East Blue all the time. As long as he doesn't come to New World, there will be no threat to us. Doflamingo didn't care much about Luen. After all, His patron is Kaido, one of the 4 emperors. Except Kaido. No one can make Doflamingo feel scared. ... New world. An island. Inside a cave. Everyone at Red Hair Pirates is still here for a banquet, drinking and eating meat. Boss Shanks. Boss Shanks. There is news on the sea again. A pirate ran in and handed Shanks newspaper. For a while. After reading the information in the newspaper, the Sand Crocodile, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, was defeated by a bounty hunter. And those 3 bounty hunters are still Luoen's apprentices. Luoen again. Shanks frowned. When Hawkeye Mihawk was defeated half a month ago, Luoen's name had been deeply imprinted in his mind. The strong man who can defeat Hawkeye is indeed worthy of Shanks's mind. But the people around were surprised. What? Shanks' boss? Are you not mistaken? Luoen's apprentice defeated 7 warlords of the sea. When did he accept his apprentice? Lakilu, Usopp and others are all confused. Only Ben Beckman narrowed his eyes. Can only his apprentice be able to defeat 7 warlords of the sea? Then how powerful is Luoen? Yeah, Shanks replied, the apprentice he taught can defeat Shichibukai, isn't he even more terrifying? It's no wonder that even Hawkeye will be defeated by Luoen, so it seems that Hawkeye has not lost in justice. Lajalu said in a deep voice. Everyone Joe also nodded. ... East Blue. Floating island. Golden Lion Shiki sits in the palace. A subordinate was kneeling under the steps and reported. Admiral, recently important news at sea. 7 warlords of the sea to which the world government belongs is defeated. The one who defeated Shichibukai was 3 bounty hunters. Golden Lion was indifferent when he heard these words, and even a little impatient. Is it a bounty hunter again? What about the bounty hunter? The man continued. Report to the admiral. The master of these 3 bounty hunters is Luoen Na. Do you remember Luoen? Golden Lion couldn't help frowning. Luoen. Then he lowered his head and meditated for a while and said, you mean Luoen, the bounty hunter from East Blue? The visitor nodded immediately. Yes, Lord Admiral. Think about it. Luoen's apprentice can defeat Shichibukai. Then Luoen is a master. How powerful is his strength? So we destroy East Blue's plan. Do you want to let it go first? Boom. There was only one gunshot. The pistol in Golden Lion's hand was smoking. The pirate was shot in the heart and fell to the ground and died. Humph. No one can stop Laozi's plan. What is Luoen? It's just a bounty hunter. Come on. With the voice falling. Another pirate entered the palace. When the visitor looked at the corpse on the ground, cold sweat broke out on his forehead. We have arrived in East Blue, haven't we? Golden Lion asked immediately. The visitor dared not neglect to answer. Report. Admiral, yes, we have entered East Blue territory. Immediately afterwards, Golden Lion narrowed his eyes. I heard that what bounty hunter Luoen is on East Blue Gal Island. Yes, someone answered. Golden Lion nodded and said with satisfaction. Ah, very good. Go to Gal Island now. Laozi's plan to destroy East Blue was implemented from Gal Island. Chapter 36 Ace was caught. Admiral heading to East Blue. Advertise here. Marine Headquarters, Marineford, Sengoku, Garp, Ms. Crane, and Admiral of Akainu, Aokiji, and Kizaru. A total of 6 Marine executives are here. Click, click. Garp asked while eating the senbei. Sengoku, why did you call us over? Hurry up, and I happen to accompany me for a drink, ha 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 ha. At this moment Sengoku was frowning and looking serious. Garp, today is a very important thing. Don't laugh and laugh. Paused. Sengoku said to Ms. Crane again. Little Crane. Now everyone is here. You tell me what happened just now. Ms. He nodded. Then he said to everyone. Since the Sand Crocodile was defeated, the position of 7 warlords of the sea has been vacant. But one thing happened just yesterday. The second team captain Ace of the Whitebeard Pirates was defeated by Blackbeard Teach, and Blackbeard Teach wanted to exchange Ace for the position of 7 warlords of the sea. When you hear the name, Ace, Garp, who was still eating senbei, stopped suddenly, feeling a sudden panic in his heart. Ace. At this time, Akainu couldn't help asking, I want to exchange Shichibukai's position with just an ace. Isn't it a bit too simple? It seems that Ace should have some terrible identity. Kizaru tilted Jiro's legs and looked lazy. Yeah, Ms. Suru. Aokiji said puzzledly, I want to exchange Shichibukai's position with just a pirate. Isn't Ace a special identity? When this problem occurs, Garp's face was completely darkened. It was still discovered. The identity of Ace, as predicted. But Ms. He continued to say. According to the news from Blackbeard. Ace is called Portgas D. Ace, and he is the son of One Piece King Gal D. Roger. He is a man who inherited One Piece's evil blood. The world government has agreed to Blackbeard's request and let him replace the Sand Crocodile as the new 7 warlords of the sea. Bang! The senbei in his hand fell directly to the ground. Sweat is already on Garp's forehead. Sengoku gave him a hard look, but didn't say much. Immediately afterwards, he said to everyone, the world government has decided to publicly execute Portgas D. Ace. The execution of Ace, the son of One Piece, is of great significance to Marine and even the world government. The time is set in 10 days. I heard that the world government has decided to publicly execute Ace. Boom. But seeing Garp suddenly stand up, the veins on his forehead are already rising, as if trying to control his emotions. Originally, Garp smiled and said that he wanted Sengoku to accompany him for a drink, but now that he heard the news, he was completely lost. All the people present were silent. Then he watched Garp leave the office like this. Let him be quiet. Ms. He sighed, paused. Sengoku said to everyone present. 10 days later will be the day when Portgas D. Ace will be executed. At that time, the Whitebeard pirates will definitely come to rescue Ace. When Whitebeard comes to Marineford, we Marine can catch the Whitebeard pirates all at once. Use this to declare the majesty of Marine's justice. So from today, Marine must always be prepared to defend against the Whitebeard pirates. The voice fell. The three admiral nodded. Whitebeard is known as the strongest man in the world. When Ace is executed, he will definitely come to rescue him. So Marine must be prepared. ... And just now, an intelligence agent ran into the office. Report to Marshal Sengoku. Golden Lion Shiki has entered the East Blue Waters and is moving in the direction of Gal Island. I don't know his plan for the time being. After hearing the news, Golden Lion Shiki, Akainu's eyes wrinkled slightly and said coldly, is there any news about this legendary pirate? It's really scary to escape from impel down by breaking my legs. Kizaru ran out of hands with a look of beating. What did Golden Lion Shiki go to East Blue? Aokiji couldn't help wondering. And it's the direction to Gal Island. Is it to find Luen? Sengoku nodded. Possible, but Golden Lion is cold-blooded and cruel by nature. I'm worried that he will do something to slaughter the people in East Blue. At this time, Kizaru offered to ask, Mr. Sengoku. Should I go there? The legendary big pirate can't be underestimated. Sengoku nodded. All right, you are the fastest. It should be in time for Ace's execution 10 days later. ... East Blue, Logue Town. Smoker sat in the office, muffling. Dong dong dong. The knock on the door fell. Tashigi pushed in with a document. Her expression was extremely flustered. Mr. Smoker. There is an emergency report from Naval Headquarters. The legendary pirate Golden Lion Shiki has come to East Blue. While talking, she put the documents in her hand on the desk. Golden Lion Shiki. When I heard this name, Smoker instantly showed a look of astonishment. Settled. He continued to ask. Golden Lion Shiki, is that the legendary big pirate who escaped from Impel Down 20 years ago? Tashigi nodded first and then said nervously. Yes, Mr. Smoker. And according to monitoring, the floating island controlled by Golden Lion Shiki is moving in the direction of Gal Island. The voice fell. Smoker's eyes narrowed momentarily. The direction of Gal Island. What does Golden Lion Shiki want to do? Is it to deal with Luen? At this time, it's too late to think about it. Smoker immediately stood up and ordered. Tashigi. Hurry up and get ready for the boat. Hurry to Gal Island immediately. Chapter 37. The floating island is here. How could I fly? Advertise here. Gal Island. Princess Vivi already knew that it was Luen's apprentice who defeated the sand crocodile. So in order to be grateful to Luen, she insisted on staying on Gal Island and serving Luen with tea and water. Not only that, Nami also returned to Gal Island this morning, also to thank Luen for helping her defeat the dragon, so she also said to take care of Luen. Outside the wooden house, Luen was sitting on the recliner with his eyes closed, basking in the morning sun leisurely. Princess Vivi squatted to pinch Luen's legs, and Nami stood behind Luen and rubbed his shoulders. Two such beautiful women served together. But I really envy others. Nami put a little effort. Vivi, be lighter. That's right, that's the strength. Keep it there. Luen commanded Princess Vivi and Nami while taking a sip of wine comfortably. The feeling of being served is awesome. And there are still two such beautiful women. When local residents pass by, they will cast extremely envious eyes. Mr. Luen is really blessed. There are two such beautiful women serving him together. If it's me, I'm willing to save 10 years or 20 years. At this time, suddenly someone noticed that the sky was gloomy. There was still the sun just now, why is it suddenly overcast? It's overcast all of a sudden. What's the matter? Isn't it just morning? Why did the sky suddenly change? Then he raised his head and looked at the sky ahead. Suddenly, everyone was shocked. In their eyes, they only saw a huge island floating in the sky not far away, just like an island in the sky. It is this floating island that blocks the sunlight from the east, which makes everyone mistakenly think that it is cloudy. See this scene. People around said in disbelief. What? Such a huge island floating in the air out of thin air. What a strong sense of oppression. What kind of ability is this? Such a huge island is suspended in the sky. Just looking up at the floating island will feel a sense of suffocation. At this time, Luen couldn't help but open his eyes. Golden Lion Shiki, he muttered to himself. The people around were suddenly shocked. Mr. Luen, who is Golden Lion Shiki? Is it here to find you? After hearing the name Golden Lion, an old man present suddenly realized. Golden Lion Shiki, if the old man remembers correctly, this name has disappeared for almost 20 years. Back then, the Golden Lion Shiki was a legendary big pirate who was as famous as Roger and Whitebeard Newgate. Is this legendary pirate still alive? The voice fell. The eyes of the people present were suddenly shocked. Maybe they have never heard of the name of Golden Lion. But Roger and Whitebeard Newgate, these two names can be said to be unknown. What? Oh my god. The legendary big pirate who was as famous as Roger and Whitebeard. Everyone in Joe's heart suddenly became anxious. The old man continued. It is rumored that Golden Lion went to Marineford alone, and singled out Marine Marshal Sengoku and Marine Hero Garp. It wasn't until Marineford was half destroyed that he was caught by Garp and Sengoku together and impelled down. But it's been 20 years since this matter. Has Golden Lion escaped from impelled down? This is East Blue. I'm afraid no one in the room does not recognize Garp's name. Marine Hero Garp. That is the pride of East Blue. So after hearing the name, Garp, the people present finally realized how powerful the Golden Lion Shiki really is. They stared at the floating island in midair with horror, their faces turned pale, and sweat was already on their foreheads. Golden Lion Shiki alone in Marineford singles Garp and Sengoku. And it was after the destruction of half of Marineford that they were caught and impelled down by the two of them. It's a bit too scary. As Golden Lion Shiki on this floating island. Speaking of which, everyone only felt a coolness coming from their backs. The name of Golden Lion Shiki alone is enough to make them feel terrified. A legendary big pirate who was as famous as Roger and Whitebeard. Marineford singled out Garp and Sengoku. Escape from impel down, the world's first prison. These various deeds are definitely not something ordinary people can accomplish. At this time, Luen couldn't help sighing helplessly. Don't be afraid, Golden Lion Shiki, he should have come to me. In fact, when Luen saw the floating island staying above Gal Island, he had already guessed that Golden Lion Shiki's goal was himself. Paused. Luen comforted everyone. I will go to the island and meet him for a while. At this time, Princess Vivi and Nami immediately stepped forward and said with concern. Master Luen, that's the legendary big pirate. Luen smiled slightly and raised his hand to indicate. It's okay. The two women bit their lips. Although they also believed in Luen's strength very much, the reputation of Golden Lion was too great. A legendary big pirate who was as famous as Roger and Whitebeard. Such a name alone is enough to prove his power. The words are over. Luen stood still. Then he looked up at the floating island in the sky. When the people around saw Luen's demeanor, they couldn't help but wonder. The floating island is at least a kilometer high from the sea. Mr. Luen, you said you are going to the island to meet him for a while. So you want to fly up? Heard these words, Luen couldn't help feeling a moment of speechless vomit. How could I fly? Boom, accompanied by a loud noise. Luen's legs were slightly bent and then suddenly exerted force, only to see his figure rise directly into the sky. Suddenly, everyone around was dumbfounded. The shock in their eyes was completely beyond the reach. Didn't Mr. Luen say that he can't fly? How come? Nami and Princess Vivi couldn't help but twitch their mouths a few times. Then explained slightly awkwardly. Yes. Master Luen really can't fly. He just jumped high. Chapter 38 Everything is Ashes. Ryujin Jaka. Advertise here. East Blue. Overlooking the floating island from the sky. Roar. Ooh, roar. There are countless huge ferocious beasts on the island. The calls of various ferocious beasts come one after another, and there are bloody beast corpses and dense bones everywhere. Moreover, these fierce beasts are very cruel and violent. As long as they encounter each other, they must fight for life and death, and only one of them must die before they will give up. This floating island in the sky is the experimental base of Golden Lion Shiki. In order to retaliate against the world government, he has prepared a 20-year plan, enough to destroy East Blue's plan. That is to use IQ drugs to make the rare beasts on the floating island berserk, and then release these berserk beasts to East Blue to cause them to wreak havoc, thereby destroying East Blue to show the power of revenge to the world government. Now, inside the palace on the island. Jahahaha. Those bastards of the world government. Laozi has finally come to East Blue and can show you Laozi's power of revenge. The Golden Lion Shiki is sitting firmly in the palace. Ta 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 ta. A pirate ran in and shouted in a flustered expression. Report to the admiral. There is a person on the island of guard below who has boarded the floating island. It should be the bounty hunter Luen. I heard the name Luen. Golden Lion Shiki couldn't help showing a cruel smile. Are you here? I have been hearing about his name since more than half a month ago, and it seems that I can finally see him today. Bounty hunter Luen. Laozi's plan to destroy East Blue is going to start on Gal Island where he is located. Jahahaha. Boom. With a loud noise. Only saw the palace gate collapsed. A dozen pirates were holding weapons and looking ahead with fear. Admiral, it's the bounty hunter Luen. Luen is coming. They shouted in horror. Sword chi flashed. The heads of these dozen pirates moved directly. The Golden Lion Shiki still sat on the chair calmly, as if unmoved at all. When the gunpowder smoke slowly dissipated, a figure appeared. Golden Lion, are you looking for me? Luen stood proudly outside the door. No need to guess, the man in front of him must be the bounty hunter Luen. Golden Lion still sat on the chair calmly and looked at Luen. Jahahaha. You are the bounty hunter Luen. I heard about your name half a month ago, and even because of your name, several of my subordinates have repeatedly advised me not to come to East Blue. Finally see you today, but it looks like nothing more than a hairy kid, and it doesn't seem to be a big deal. Golden Lion is close to 70 years old. Luen is only more than 20 years old. In Golden Lion's view, Luen is just a hairy child, and there is nothing to be concerned about. Really? Golden Lion Shiki, since you know my identity as a bounty hunter, then you should also realize that as a pirate, it is very dangerous for you to see me. Luen smiled playfully. Golden Lion Shiki still laughed arrogantly. Jahahaha. Danger. This is the funniest joke I've ever heard. Young people, Laozi is the man who wants to rule this ocean from the air, so disrespectful to Laozi. Today I will use you first. The voice fell. The Golden Lion suddenly violent. The right foot kicked out directly towards Luen. Slash wave. A sword aura swiftly struck Luen with a splitting force. Luen narrowed his eyes slightly. Holding Ryujin Jaka in his hand, he also slapped it. Ha! Boom. The two sword chi collided in midair. The fierce air flow instantly swept all around. Hoo. Straightly blow the clothes of the two people coldly. Finally, the airflow has dissipated. Cracks appeared on the ground and walls throughout the palace. And Luen is still standing proudly in place. Golden Lion looked at Luen and praised. Oh, kid, it seems that there is some ability. But don't be proud, it was just an appetizer just now. Immediately, but I saw the Golden Lion flying in the air and directly rushing towards Luen. The famous knife on his right leg was slashed openly. Luen slightly moved and held Ryujin Jaka directly to the block. Kang. However, Golden Lion sneered. The famous knife on his left foot also slashed towards Luen's abdomen along the way. Luen immediately grabbed Ryujin Jaka with his backhand again, and traversed it in a drag knife style. Kang. Even blocked the blow again. Even Luen does not retreat but advances instead. Both hands suddenly shook. Boom. Both sides took a few steps back. At this moment, even the Golden Lion showed a little consternation. The young man in front of him was so exquisite in swordsmanship. Only played a few rounds. Golden Lion also saw that Luen is not a simple commodity. Smelly boy, your swordsmanship is not weak. No wonder my subordinates are very afraid of your name, and even persuaded me not to come to East Blue. Sure enough, it is the right choice to come to East Blue first. Immediately, Golden Lion uses the power of lion fruit to levitate in midair. Oh, why? Luen looked at Golden Lion playfully. Golden Lion narrowed his eyes and looked at Luen solemnly. Because just kill you first. Laozi will be able to destroy East Blue without any worries. Jahahaha. So you go to die. Just seeing that he was floating in midair with his legs kicking towards Luen continuously. Lion. Thousand Slice Valley. As if dancing in the air, Golden Lion's body twisted wantonly. Both legs kicked countless slash waves in an instant. H. The airtight slash wave raged in, blocking Luen's retreat, and it was inevitable. Jahahaha. Go to hell, bounty hunter Luen. With Golden Lion's arrogant laugh. At the same time. But seeing Luen's eyes narrowed slightly. Then he held Ryujin Jaka with both hands across his chest. Everything is ashes. Ryujin Jaka. Chapter 39 Marine's Shock. Advertise here. The voice fell, but watching Ryujin Jaka's blade instantly rises with fierce flames. Seeing countless slash waves have come. Humph. Snorted coldly. Luen swung his knife out instantly. Boom. I saw him slam Ryujin Jaka abruptly, slashing out a sword energy with explosive flames. Swish. Boom boom. Countless fireworks exploded in the sky. The countless oncoming slash waves were all shattered by the sword energy of Luen. Golden Lion's face was a little surprised and said. What a strong sword pressure. Good. Luen cut out the flame of this knife. It has completely swallowed up Golden Lion's Thousand Slice Valley. Luen held Ryujin Jaka and pointed at the ground diagonally, then looked at the Golden Lion jokingly. Golden Lion, just by relying on this degree, do you want to take my life? The strength of the legendary big pirate is nothing more than this. The words are full of provocative and mocking. Golden Lion is already slightly squinting and furious. Bounty hunter Luen, asshole, you look down on me so much. Laozi is a Golden Lion, a man who wants to rule this ocean from the sky. The veins on his forehead are already violent. At any rate, he is also a legendary big thief who is as famous as Roger and Whitebeard. Facing Luen at this time, he was so mocked by a young man. Golden Lion was already in anger. Oh, really? Golden Lion. Finally going to make a real move. Luen still stands calmly in place. The raging fire burned fiercely on the blade, and even the air began to be filled with scorching breath. Humph. Boy, you will pay for your arrogance. Golden Lion saw a junior despising himself so much. Immediately he no longer kept his hands. Ultimate's armament Hawkeye has covered the famous sword with both feet. Then his eyes condensed, and he rushed towards Luen again. As a legendary big pirate who was as famous as Roger and Whitebeard. The strength of Golden Lion is naturally extremely powerful. Judging from the fact that he dared to go to Marineford alone against Garp and Sengoku, in fact, he has great confidence in his own strength. Come and try. Luen yelled violently, also stepped on the spot and jumped up suddenly. Holding Ryujin Jaka in his hand, he rushed directly up. Both sides fully deployed ultimates armed color and observation hockey. Rumble. The blades of both sides collided. Suddenly there was a loud thunderous sound. A violent airflow instantly spread out in all directions. Hoo. The two stood in a stalemate in midair like this, and the endless air current raged wildly on their clothes and hair. The ground began to crack and cracks appeared in the walls. Even the entire palace began to shake shaky. Luen also narrowed his eyes slightly. Luen. The golden lion roared. Boom. There was a loud thunder-like noise again. ... At the same time, below the floating island, a warship stayed in the sea. Both Smoker and Tashigi looked up at the floating island in the sky ahead. The surprise in his eyes is no longer enough. Tashigi asked with lingering fear. Mr. Smoker. The legendary big pirate golden lion Shiki. Just on this floating island. Smoker, who was standing by, nodded. And frowned deeply if he thought deeply. Good. The golden lion alone broke into Marineford, the headquarters of Marineford, but was finally defeated by Mr. Garp and Mr. Sengoku before being imprisoned in Impel Grand Prison. He is a big pirate who was wiped out of history by the world government because of extreme danger and terror. Unexpectedly, he escaped from the world's #1 prison. Here Smoker's introduction. The surrounding marine soldiers also suddenly sweated on their foreheads. Obviously, it was defeated by Mr. Garp and Mr. Sengoku. Just such a thing is enough to make people present feel terrified. Golden Lion Shiki, what a terrible pirate. It was defeated by Mr. Garp and Mr. Sengoku together. Then how powerful is his strength? Everyone was talking about it. All saw the horror in each other's eyes. Suddenly. Boom. There seemed to be a loud noise on the island. Although the sound is not particularly loud. But be aware. They are a kilometer away from the floating island in the sky. Even at a distance of hundreds of kilometers, the sound of the floating island can be heard. What's the problem? Suddenly, everyone in Smoker looked up subconsciously. Then someone couldn't help but wonder. This sound seems to come from the floating island. What is the problem? Could it be that fighting has already taken place on the floating island? They couldn't believe this conjecture. After all, the floating island is 1,000 meters high from the sea. If there is a fight, so who on earth went to this 1,000-meter high floating island? And this time, a marine ran over and said loudly. Mr. Smoker. According to the news from Gal Island, bounty hunter Luen has gone to the floating island. The voice fell. Everyone present looked at each other and saw the horror in each other's eyes. What did you say? Luen went to this floating island. How did he get up? Smoker asked this question. The visitor replied with embarrassment on his face. Report Mr. Smoker. According to what the local residents of Gal Island saw with their own eyes, the bounty hunter Luen jumped directly onto the floating island using his legs. Even the visitors found it incredible. So after answering at this time, he didn't even believe it himself. What? Luen jumped directly on. He jumped directly on this 1,000-meter high floating island. Are you sure you didn't fly up? Smoker's mouth snapped out a few times. The visitor also replied with an awkward expression. Report to Colonel Smoker. The people on Gal Island saw this with their own eyes. Even I can't believe it. Tashigi was also shocked. Luen is a monster, right? How is it possible that someone can jump directly to a kilometer altitude? How powerful does that have to be? It's not just that she couldn't believe it. The people present also absolutely did not believe this matter. How could anyone in this world be able to jump thousands of meters with both legs? Smoker finally settled and reflected. For the time being, no matter how Luen got on this floating island. But the loud noise from the floating island just now. Does it mean that Luen and Golden Lion have started a battle? Thought of this. The people present couldn't help taking a breath. Is that bounty hunter Luen already fighting with Golden Lion? Chapter 40. It seems that it will be difficult to defeat you. Advertise here. Floating island. With a loud thunderous noise. Thus swept out an extremely strong air current. The entire palace began to vibrate, and even faltered as if it would collapse at any time. What? The Golden Lion yelled again, and the double knives under his feet suddenly exerted force again. Luen frowned slightly. Boom. There was another loud noise. And this time, the palace finally couldn't bear the aftermath of the battle between the two. Boom. A beam hit the ground. Then the ground rolled up, and the cracks in the walls became bigger and bigger. Outside the palace, countless pirates watched this scene in astonishment, and then shouted in fear. It's going to collapse. The palace is going to collapse. The aftermath of the battle between Lord Admiral and Luen shocked the palace. If you approach the attack range of the two of them rashly, I'm afraid they will be stirred up in an instant. They all watched the palace slowly fall with trepidation. Various beams of broken wood smashed to the ground, accompanied by the rumbling sound. Suddenly smoke and dust were everywhere. These pirates watched this scene very nervously, and then discussed with lingering fear. Do you think the bounty hunter Luen, will he be the Admiral's opponent? The Admiral is a legendary big pirate, he is a powerful man with the same name as the Pirate King, and of course he will win the final victory. What's more, the Admiral's goal is to destroy the entire East Blue. How could he be defeated by a mere bounty hunter? However, Luen is also quite powerful, and he was able to beat the Admiral to this level, and even the palace collapsed. In the minds of these pirates. Naturally, I think Golden Lion Shiki is more powerful. After all, his strength and reputation lies here. At this time, the smoke and dust has finally dissipated. In the ruins that had collapsed, two figures appeared. Luen stood proudly standing still holding Ryujin Jaka in his hand. The Golden Lion Shiki flew in the air, a pair of cruel eyes staring at Luen. Jahahaha. Bounty Hunter Luen, you are fully qualified to be my subordinate with your strength. As long as you are willing to surrender to me, I can promise not to kill you. How is it? The strength of Golden Lion to see Luen is indeed not weak. There is even a heart to solicit in his heart. You want me to surrender to you? It's ridiculous, Golden Lion. Luen deliberately provoked, could it be that you are already scared? I don't know what to do. Golden Lion saw Luen provoking himself so much. Suddenly, his heart burned with anger. Since I don't want to surrender to me, then die for me, Luen, but saw him roar. Then using Lion Fruit's ability to directly lift the entire ground, the ground instantly turned into multiple lion heads and smashed towards Luen. Lion Majesty. Earth coiling. Luen couldn't help snorting coldly, and his eyes instantly became cold. Nine-headed dragon flashes. The voice fell, almost just for a moment. Ryujin Jaka actually cut 9 knives in his hand, and still slashed out in 9 directions. Swish. The speed of the knife can be described as extremely fast. This technique is pure swordsmanship, not the skill of Zanpakuto Ryujin Jaka. Only seeing that the 9 knives had been split in an instant, the Lion Majesty earth coiling that was approaching directly split into countless pieces. And the next moment, Luoen's body shape has been violently flashed. Tianxiang dragon flashes. Although the person was in the air, he held Ryujin Jaka in both hands and rushed directly towards the Golden Lion. Golden Lion frowned suddenly. He did not expect that under his own attack, Luen would be able to spare time to fight back, and immediately used his ability again. Lion Majesty Big Slash Wave. The right foot gains momentum and instantly splits towards the oncoming Luen. I saw a slash wave tens of meters in size, with a huge power that could cut the air, suddenly attacking Luen. Boom. But he saw Luen's body directly pass through this huge slash wave, splitting this slash wave directly into 2. However, this is not over yet. Golden Lion's eyes narrowed slightly to see Luen deep in the sky. Then he activated Lion Fruit's ability again and shouted angrily. Jahahahahaha. Go to hell Luen. Just use this trick to swallow you up. Another ground was lifted by him and turned into countless lion heads again, rushing towards Luen in a crushing force. Lion Majesty. Govern place earth coiling. Roar. Even the lion is like a living creature, and you can hear the low roar like a lion. The power of this trick is twice as powerful as the previous Lion Majesty earth coiling. Worthy of being a legendary big pirate, his combat experience is so rich. In the face of such an intensive offensive, if his opponent were to be an ordinary person, he would be killed by him in an instant. However, at this time, he was facing Luen. Although Luen had already jumped into the air, he watched countless huge lion heads rushing towards him. He also understands that the power of this move has surpassed all previous Golden Lion moves. Immediately, his eyes narrowed slightly. Ryujin Jaka in his hand runs across his chest. Reiatsu is released. The flame above the blade rose instantly. Torch. Immediately afterwards, with the voice falling. Luoen's Ryujin Jaka swept across. Boom. Suddenly, a tornado-shaped flame rose out of thin air. And this red flame also hit the Lion Majesty governed place earth coiling. Hoo. The tornado kept spinning. Roar. The countless lion heads also approached without fear. Finally, the tornado and the lion head hit each other. Booming. When countless lion heads touched the flame tornado, they suddenly collapsed without a trace. Roar. Those lion heads seemed to scream. Only for a moment. All the lion heads have been swallowed by the flame tornado. What? Seeing this trick was also blocked by Luen. Golden Lion's face was full of consternation. He just hovered in midair and stared at Luen. His expression was a bit ugly at this time. When facing Luen, not only did he not have any advantage in swordsmanship, but Luen could easily decipher the stunts he activated with the ability of Lion Fruit. Ryujin Jaka pointed forward. Luen joked coldly. Golden Lion, why don't you continue to attack? Aren't you going to kill me? Even if provoked by Luen. But now the Golden Lion has regained his senses and did not blindly impulse. Then he smiled sorrowfully. Jahahahaha. Luen. It seems that it will be difficult to defeat you in a short time. So I decided to implement my great plan to destroy East Blue one step in advance. I don't know how you will stop me. Chapter 41 Ryujin Jaka, Hell of Heat. Advertise here. Golden Lion's plan to destroy East Blue. It is to release all the beasts on the floating island to East Blue, let these beasts wreak havoc in East Blue, thereby destroying the entire East Blue. The number of giant beasts on the floating island may not be less than 10,000. Every fierce beast may be able to slaughter a village at will. Moreover, under the stimulation of IQ drugs, the combat effectiveness of these giant beasts will be increased several times, and they are even tireless and painful, only to destroy everything in front of them. The golden lion flew into the sky while laughing wildly. Jahahahaha. At high altitude, I am invincible. Luen, what will you do next? With his big move. The entire floating island actually started to move, and the island even began to fall slowly. At this time, roar oh 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 oh. From the floating island, the cry of various fierce beasts one after another, as if these fierce beasts have also become violent. Jahahahaha. The plan to destroy East Blue starts from the island of Gal below. Luen, just watch your neighbors and friends and be swallowed alive by the beast. There was again Golden Lion's cruel laughter in the air. There seemed to be scenes in his mind where the residents were bitten by beasts. Thinking of this cruel scene, Golden Lion Shiki was completely excited. At this time, Luen stood proudly on the ground like this, and his cold eyes stared at the Golden Lion Shiki in midair like this. This cruel appearance of Golden Lion really disgusted him. Suddenly his eyes narrowed slightly. Boom. Then he held Ryujin Jaka in both hands, but Luoen's target was not the Golden Lion. I only saw him holding Ryujin Jaka with both hands. Endless flames burned violently on the blade. The corners of Luoen's mouth lifted up, revealing a deep smile. Golden Lion, since you want to use these giant beasts to destroy East Blue, then I will let your plan burn. Reiatsu is released. The flame on the blade of Ryujin Jaka rose again violently. Asshole, Luen, what are you going to do? Golden Lion frowned and scolded, but he had a bad premonition in his heart at this time. As predicted, I saw Luen suddenly thrust Ryujin Jaka into the ground. The next moment, boom boom, dozens of sky-reaching fire pillars suddenly rose from the ground, and then these fire pillars began to shrink and gather. Luen is located at the center of these fire pillars. Asshole, what are you going to do? Stop it for me. Although Golden Lion was puzzled. Suck it, but I always felt a very bad premonition in my heart. Only seeing the corners of Luoen's mouth lifted up, revealing a gloomy and joking evil smile, the dozens of fire pillars that reached the sky slowly gathered towards Luen. Floating island. Many pirates watched this scene. The shock in his eyes was completely beyond the reach. Oh my god, these dozens of pillars of fire are rushing into the sky. Can't see the head at all. Luen is actually able to control the sky-reaching pillar of fire. What kind of ability does he possess? And what exactly does this bounty hunter Luen want to do? Everyone was also very puzzled. But seeing this pillar of fire sky-reaching, suddenly a strong sense of fear struck everyone's hearts. Could it be that fellow Luen? Does he want to destroy the fierce beasts on this island? Suddenly someone guessed that. All the people present were shocked. Destroy the fierce beasts on this island. How can it be? The radius of this island is close to 100 miles. How powerful is the range attack to cover the entire island? The pirates nodded. The floating island has a radius of 100 miles, and there are beasts all over the island. Want to destroy the beast? Can Luoen's move cover such a wide range? Below the floating island, on the Marine's battleship, Smoker and others all raised their heads and looked towards the floating island in front. From their perspective, can clearly see the dozens of sky-reaching fire pillars on the floating island, and these dozens of fiercely burning fire pillars are slowly moving towards the center. At this time, everyone present looked at all this in disbelief with consternation. Then, what is that? This pillar of fire to the sky. Is it the ability of Golden Lion? Someone asked. However, Smoker shook his head with slightly narrowed eyes. Golden Lion is a lion fruit-capable person. It should be impossible to use such a huge fire attribute attack. So that means, everyone suddenly realized, so this is the ability of the bounty hunter Luen. Is he a capable person of Logia? It's just a monster to create dozens of fire pillars like this. Could it be possible to achieve this level only with manpower? They watched the pillar of fire on the floating island from a distance, and they could only guess and talk like this. Smoker nodded. It is rumored that a strong person who can exert the fruit ability to ultimate is likely to be able to achieve this level. I guess Luen should be a fire attribute capable person. There should be only this kind of explanation. Of course the people present did not understand. This is not a fruit ability at all, but an ability after Luen's Zanpakuto Ryujin Jaka Shikai. Floating island. Ryujin Jaka has been inserted into the ground. Dozens of sky-reaching fire pillars centered on Luen, and quickly gathered towards him. Roar, roar. The fierce beasts on the island began to growl uncomfortably. Even if they have been injected with IQ potions, they have even lost their sanity and become violent. But at this time they felt this incredibly hot breath, as if it originated from biological instincts, fear of flames. That's why I began to feel restless. Even some fierce beasts originated from the instinctive fear of fire by creatures, and they fled directly away from the pillar of fire. Luen, you guy, does it mean you want to attack my fierce beast? At this time, When seeing the fierce beasts on the island were so manic and frightened, Golden Lion had already guessed Luoen's intentions. In an instant, he attacked Luen again. Try to stop Luen. Lion Majesty. Earth coiling. A huge piece of ground turned into several lion heads and rolled towards Luen. But Luen smiled at the corner of his mouth. Then both hands suddenly grasped the purple hilt of Ryujin Jaka. Hell from the heat. Chapter 42 Burn everything, everything is gone. Advertise here. The voice fell. However, the dozens of pillars of fire to the sky have gathered together with Luen as the center. Boom. Only seeing these dozens of sky-reaching fire pillars was instantly detonated, and then violent explosions suddenly swept out in all directions. At this time, it seems that even time has stopped. Everything on the floating island is covered by this explosion. The golden lion in the sky, the lion majesty earth coiling displayed by the golden lion, the pirates on the floating island, and the countless beasts that are running away. Everything has been covered by this fierce explosion. Rumbling, rumbling. It's like a loud noise like a volcanic eruption. I only saw endless explosions violently rising into the sky centered on Luen. Suddenly, Lion Majesty. On the ground raised by earth coiling, the several lion heads made from the ground collapsed instantly. Those pirates who looked at the sky for unknown reasons, their bodies instantly turned to ashes. The countless fierce beasts that fled in all directions were instantly burned with water and blood under the intense flames, and even the bones of the trunk were first turned into coke, and then directly evaporated. In an instant, everything on the floating island was reduced to ashes and disappeared. Only the golden lion Shiki in midair. Under the protection of ultimate armament Hawkeye, it withstood the extreme heat of the hot hell. When Golden Lion recovered, his pupils shrank suddenly, and even his whole body began to tremble. This is, what's wrong? Even Golden Lion's tone became trembling, and it was obvious that his heart had fallen into extreme panic. At this moment he was suspended in midair, looking condescendingly at the floating island. Everything on the floating island has disappeared. Thousands of pirates in the flying pirate group, countless beasts on the island, and even the huge forest that was originally extremely dense. All have disappeared. Even the ground of the floating island has turned into a piece of scorched earth. Do not. What? Even if Golden Lion saw this scene before him, his heart was almost collapsed. The pirates on the island were all his subordinates, and they didn't even make any calls for help at all, and they had turned into nothingness. But their strength is too weak. So even if you die, you die. Golden Lion didn't care about the lives of these pirates. But what he cares most about, but the fierce beasts on the floating island. Those fierce beasts are the weapons used by Golden Lion to destroy East Blue. In order to destroy the East Blue clan, Golden Lion has been researching on this beast island for 20 years, and finally developed the IQ potion that can make the beast more violent. However, the results of these 2 decades, just today, right now, has been ruined. The 20-year plan has completely collapsed, and all plans and efforts have been burned. What about retaliation against the world government? What else to talk about domination of the world? A sense of incomparable despair has permeated Golden Lion's heart. He glared at Luen standing on the scorched earth. The despair and anger in his heart had turned into extreme strength. What? The Golden Lion roared at Luen. Luen. Damn it. Laozi must kill you. Extreme anger has already poured into my heart, and Golden Lion seems to have lost his mind. But Luen stood in place with Ryujin Jaka in his hand. Everything around him has been razed to the ground by Luen's hot hell, like a vast expanse of wasteland. He just looked at the Golden Lion calmly, as if only doing a trivial thing. However, that's the expression. It even made Golden Lion completely furious. Extreme anger rushed to the head. What? With a roar again. Golden Lion had completely lost his sanity in the air, so he swooped down in the direction of Luen. He is going to kill Luen. It was Luen who destroyed the plan he had prepared for 20 years, the plan to destroy East Blue with fierce beasts. Now, all the efforts and achievements made by Golden Lion have been burned. At the same time, below the floating island. Everyone in Smoker was looking up at the floating island in the sky. Suddenly, rumbling. With the continuous explosion, I saw the dozens of sky-reaching fire pillars gathered together and then burst open. Suddenly, the entire floating island was instantly covered with a layer of crimson explosions. Even if the distance is close to kilometers. Suddenly felt a huge heat wave rushing toward his face. Hoo. The air wave swept all around instantly. Smoker frowned slightly. The surrounding marine soldiers also immediately supported the railing. Tashigi even stopped in front of him with both hands. Hoo. After that, the heat wave stopped, as if even the temperature of the air had risen. At this moment, they all looked at the sky with dumbfounded eyes, and even suddenly felt a chill from their backs, and they even stared at each other in horror and couldn't speak. All the scenes that happened on the floating island had already far surpassed their cognitive scope. Where can I imagine it? There are people in this world who can conjure such a spectacular sight. Dozens of pillars of fire. After getting together, it will explode. The flames instantly covered the entire floating island, and even the heat waves caused by the flames even affected them from a distance of kilometers. Finally, someone spoke. Even the air is getting hot. Is this the power of God? How can there be human strength that can reach this level? The bounty hunter named Luen is terribly strong. Although the people around him gradually calmed down, the surprise in their eyes did not diminish in the slightest. Because that is a power beyond their cognition. Just now. Look, that yellow beam. Come in our direction. The voice fell, but I saw a burst of yellow light beam coming quickly from a distance. Then stayed on the marine warship. Wait until the yellow beam changes into Kizaru's figure. The marine soldiers present were shocked, and then recovered and shouted respectfully, "Kizaru Admiral." At this time, Kizaru just patted the clothes casually. Then he looked at the floating island in the sky with a wretched smile. I saw this in the air just now. The explosion caused by the explosion of dozens of sky-reaching pillars of fire suddenly covered the entire floating island. What did the bounty hunter Luen do? It's terrible. Chapter 43 The legendary great pirate has fallen. Advertise here. At this time, when I saw the arrival of Kizaru, the highest combat power of naval headquarters. The smoker people immediately stepped forward and told Admiral Kizaru all the information they knew just now. Sure enough, Luen. That guy has already started fighting with Golden Lion. Such a powerful force is really terrible. As he said so. In fact, Kizaru still has an indifferent expression. Paused. Kizaru spread his hands and said, "This floating island is still floating in the air. So in other words, there is no difference between the two of them. I don't know if Mr. Luen needs the help of the old man." At the same time, floating island. It is already a barren scorched earth. Except for Luen and Golden Lion, all creatures have been swallowed up by the heat hell that Luen displayed. It was a deadly atmosphere. "I'm going to kill you. You damn bastard." What? With a violent rage. The Golden Lion's figure swooped down from the sky. Extreme anger has occupied his heart, and even made Golden Lion completely lose his mind. Humph. But seeing Luen holding Ryujin Jaka in his hand, he couldn't help but sneer. Then he greeted him directly. "Lion. Thousand Slice Valley." Golden Lion's figure was still in midair, and his legs had been kicked out quickly. Numerous fierce slash waves suddenly attacked Luen with incomparable fierceness, and his figure also swooped directly toward Luen. Luen stood still standing still. A pair of cold eyes just ignored the Golden Lion Shiki. "Golden Lion, as a strong person, you have to stay awake. So, you have already lost." Spit out slowly with the words. Even in the face of countless slash wave attacks. Luen narrowed his eyes slightly. Then Ryujin Jaka in his hand slammed directly. Booming. A huge scarlet sword aura came out through the blade. Just in the blink of an eye. The countless slash waves of the Golden Lion were smashed by Luen's sword energy, and then only Golden Lion rushed towards Luen. Die, asshole Luen. What? The plan for 20 years of preparation was thus shattered. The anger in Golden Lion's heart had reached its extreme, so at this time he had lost his mind. Only by killing Luen can he relieve his anger. At this time, the armament Hawkeye of Ultimate had already covered the famous swords on both legs, and the Golden Lion swooped forward towards Luen like this. Suddenly, Luen already holds Ryujin Jaka in both hands. Even in the face of the already extremely angry Golden Lion, he did not even retreat in the slightest. Boom. One leg suddenly hit the ground, and his figure jumped up instantly. Luen and Golden Lion flashed past, standing with their backs facing each other about 10 meters apart. Next moment. What? I saw Golden Lion staggered a few steps forward, and there was a burned wound on his abdomen, and no blood came out. Kang. But Luen has already put the knife into its sheath. Thump. Golden Lion fell to the ground directly towards the front, his pupils suddenly shrunk and his eyes turned pale, and he couldn't stop trembling. The breath of death had already restored him a bit of consciousness. Luen, asshole. Laozi is, but Golden Lion. It is to rule from the air, this ocean. His breath is getting weaker and weaker. Golden Lion at this time. The organs in the body have been burned by Ryujin Jaka, and life is passing by quickly. Golden Lion fell to the ground, his eyes widened and stared at Luen. Only now did he finally realize it. His plan to destroy East Blue would be stopped by a mere bounty hunter, and even he himself was about to die because of this bounty hunter. To know, when Golden Lion heard of Luen's name in the past, he was so scornful and dismissive. But this is the person who makes him extremely despised. But it gave him a fatal blow. At this time, Luen has turned around and looked at the Golden Lion indifferently, without any emotion in his eyes. In his opinion, the pirate is damned, not to mention. The Golden Lion had previously made bold words to kill Luen. Therefore, Luen will not have any compassion. He just ignored the Golden Lion, and then said with cold eyes. "Golden Lion, I reminded you a long time ago. It's very dangerous to meet me as your pirate." Heard these words. Although Golden Lion was already extremely painful. But he still exhausted his last bit of strength and shouted. "FK, asshole Luen. In order to destroy East Blue, I prepared 20 years. It will fall into your hands. Not reconciled." As if already exhausted, he shouted out his unwillingness. The next moment, the Golden Lion's voice stopped abruptly. Even a raging fire began to erupt on his body, which instantly turned to ashes. Only the two famous swords, Sakura Ten and Wither, on his lap were left. The plan that had been prepared for 20 years was ruined today, and even his own life was in the hands of Luen. Golden Lion Shiki, as a legendary big pirate who was as famous as Roger, how could he be willing? Yes, a generation of legendary great pirates, Golden Lion Shiki, has fallen. Chapter 44 One person kills one island. Advertise here. With the fall of Golden Lion, his lion fruit ability has disappeared. Suddenly, however, the island that had turned into scorched earth began to sink toward the sea. Luen first picked up the two famous knives, Sakura Ten and Withered Wood, on the ground, and then leapt easily and headed towards the island of Gal below. At this time, Gal Island, the onlookers crowded the shore. Before they heard that Luen had been on the floating island, the shock in their hearts was beyond the reach. Suddenly, someone noticed something and shouted. You guys, look at this floating island. A figure jumped down from the island. That's Mr. Luen. Everyone immediately looked at the direction of his fingers. Really, a person jumped on the floating island. It is Luen. I only saw Luen coming towards Gal Island. The people around quickly stepped aside. Step on. Luen has already landed. Mr. Luen. Mr. Luen. Princess Nami and Vivi immediately leaned forward and said with concern. Nothing. Luen smiled casually and replied. The people around immediately gathered around and couldn't help asking with concern. Mr. Luen, are you okay? There was a loud noise from the floating island just now. It should be the battle between you and Golden Lion Shiki. Mr. Luen, are you not injured? After all, Luen has lived on Gal Island for 3 years. It can be seen. These people really care about Luen. Luen nodded with relief and said. Don't worry, everyone. I'm fine, and the Golden Lion has been killed by me. These words were extremely plain. As if just talking about a trivial thing. However, listening to everyone's ears is like a bolt from the blue. After hearing the news that Golden Lion was dead, they were all stunned at once, and their faces were full of horror. Mr. Luen, what did you say? Golden Lion was killed by you. Oh my god, although Luen's tone is very flat and calm. But it penetrated everyone's ears like a thunder. Golden Lion Shiki is the legendary big pirate, who was as famous as Roger and Whitebeard. Has been killed by Luen. And it's still so careless. Just at this time, another loudly shouted, look at that floating island is falling. Everyone looked up again at the floating island ahead, only to see that the floating island was falling towards the sea. The sea in the distance. On top of a warship. Kizaru Admiral stood proudly in front of the deck. Marine soldiers such as Smoker and Tashigi stood beside him and behind him. Admiral of Naval Headquarters. The status in everyone's mind is second only to the existence of the Marshal. It is a symbol of status and strength. So they are very respectful to Kizaru Admiral. At this time, a marine soldier holding a telescope suddenly shouted. Mr. Kizaru, Mr. Smoker. The floating island seems to be falling, as if it is out of control. I also saw a figure jumping off the island. It should be the bounty hunter Luen. With the voice falling, Smoker and others were immediately astonished. Luen left the island, and this floating island is still sinking. So that means that the winner has already been divided. The floating island is falling, so is the Golden Lion defeated. When this question is raised, the people present couldn't help feeling a panic of fear. Golden Lion Shiki was defeated. And was it defeated by the bounty hunter Luen? He is a legendary big pirate who was as famous as Roger and Whitebeard. Did he lose in this way? So how strong is the bounty hunter Luen? The voice fell. Kizaru's observation Hawkeye has also been spread out. Paused. Even Kizaru couldn't help but speak. It's terrible. Golden Lion Shiki is indeed dead. Luen has the strength of the bounty hunter reached this level. Hear what Kizaru said. The people present really realized that the Golden Lion had indeed died in battle. And the person who killed the Golden Lion Shiki was Luen, a bounty hunter from East Blue Gal Island. Paused. Kizaru added. There is not even a living thing on this floating island. Are all the creatures evaporated by the blast just now? The name bounty hunter Luen really deserves special attention from Marine and even the world government. At this time, everyone realizes. The dozens of pillars of fire that they saw earlier, and the explosions released after the pillars of fire gathered, had destroyed all creatures on the entire island. The look of surprise in their eyes was a little bit more, and they even felt a little bit scared. Are all the creatures on the island destroyed with just one move? That guy Luen is simply a monster. Does one person slaughter an island? Kizaru also spread his hands. Still an expression of incomparable beating. It seems so. Bounty hunter Luen, this guy. It's so terrible to kill one island by one person. Then he took out the phone worm from Kabuto. Called in the past. After the phone worm is connected, Kizaru said helplessly to the person on the phone bug. Mr. Sengoku, it seems that I ran for nothing. Golden Lion Shiki has been killed by Luen. Finally at this moment, the floating island in the sky fell rapidly. Boom. There was a loud noise again, and the island fell on the sea and caused a huge wave hundreds of feet high. The fall of the floating island. It also heralds the fall of a generation of legendary great pirate Golden Lion Shiki. Chapter 45 The Sea Vibrates. Laozi is the strongest. Advertise here. Marine Headquarters Marineford. Sengoku, who had already connected the phone, suddenly said in shock. Porosalino. What did you say? Golden Lion Shiki has been killed by Luen. Even Sengoku yelled in disbelief after hearing the news. Ms. Crane on the side couldn't help showing a look of surprise. Yes, Mr. Sengoku. It seems that East Blue does not need our attention at all. As long as Luen is there, it seems that East Blue is safe. Kizaru's lazy voice came on the other end of the phone. Settled. Sengoku and Kizaru said, okay, Porosalino, come back first. There are only a few days left to execute Ace. You have to be there as Marine Admiral then. It is true. The execution of Ace, the son of One Piece, is now approaching. Although Sengoku was also very surprised by the strength of Luen. But there is no doubt. Ace's punishment is the most important thing. Unexpectedly, Kizaru's lazy and casual voice came from the phone worm again. Now that I have come to East Blue, I just want to rest in East Blue for a few days. Don't worry, Mr. Sengoku. I will definitely be there the day Ace is executed. I heard Kizaru say this. Sengoku no longer asks for anything. After all, Kizaru's character has always been so lazy and casual. After confessing a few more words, he hung up the phone. Sengoku, Ms. Crane still said with some surprise, Golden Lion Shiki was actually killed by Luen. Well, it seems so. Sengoku also nodded meaningfully. Although they all knew that Luen was very powerful, they never thought that Luen would kill Golden Lion Shiki alone. To know, Golden Lion Shiki is the legendary big pirate. The key is, Sengoku had personally played against Golden Lion, and even teamed up with Garp to destroy Marineford in half before capturing Golden Lion. Therefore, Sengoku deeply understands the pirate Golden Lion Shiki, how powerful he has. It seems that we underestimated Luen's strength before. He not only defeated Hawkeye Mihawk, but even Golden Lion Shiki is not his opponent. He also said thoughtfully. Sengoku sighed again. After all, even Luen's apprentice can defeat Shichibukai's Sand Crocodile. As a master, he defeated the Golden Lion Shiki. It seems as it should be. What's more, Golden Lion is also old. I'm getting old too. Speaking of which, he couldn't help sighing again. He couldn't help but persuade. The top priority now is Ace's execution. After this execution is over, we old guys should also give up positions. Sengoku couldn't help nodding. He had already thought of resigning as Marshal Marine. 2 days later, the news of the defeat of the Golden Lion has swept across the sea in an instant. The major news media on the sea began to report this matter wildly. The legendary pirate falls. East Blue's patron saint bounty hunter Luen. Close black lens bracket. The flame burns the sky. Floating island turned into scorched earth. Close black lens bracket. One person kills one island, the strongest bounty hunter Luen. Close black lens bracket. All kinds of gimmick news headlines spread wildly on the sea. New World. IWC. A huge secret room. Charlotte Linlin, one of the 4 emperors, was lying on the ground, and kept pushing pieces of cake into her big mouth. Dong dong dong. There was a knock on the door of the secret room. Who? Charlotte Linlin asked impatiently. Mom, it's me, Kata Curry. A low voice came from outside the door. Come in. The voice fell. Katakuri walked in with a newspaper. Then bowed respectfully. Mom. Hey Charlotte Linlin's saliva kept on the ground, and then still asked impatiently. What's the matter, Kata Curry? Katakuri handed over a newspaper and said. Mother. There are major news from the sea. Golden Lion Shiki was killed by the bounty hunter Luen in East Blue. Suddenly, Charlotte Linlin immediately sat up with a look of surprise. What did you say, Kata Curry? Golden Lion Shiki was killed. Aunt Charlotte Linlin and Golden Lion Shiki, they were both crew members on the Rock's ship, so Charlotte Linlin knows the strength of Golden Lion very well. Bounty hunter Luen, if I am not mistaken. Luen is the guy who defeated Hawkeye in East Blue before. Hear the question from Charlotte Linlin. Kata Curry replied immediately. Yes, mother, that's the bounty hunter Luen. Even his apprentice defeated Shichibukai's Sand Crocodile. The strength of this master is really strong. At this time, Charlotte Linlin's eyes wrinkled slightly. It seems that Golden Lion Shiki is old and declining. Otherwise, with his strength, he would definitely not lose to a mere bounty hunter. And still so humiliated to die in East Blue. Finished. She continued to eat cakes and desserts indifferently, and didn't care too much about the death of Golden Lion. New World, Wanokuni. Ooh. It's so pathetic. Golden Lion. Ooh. Kaido, one of the 4 emperors, sat in the cave, already looking drunk. He directly lifted the wine jar and poured his head up. Then he sighed heavily. Ooh. You are so pitiful, Golden Lion. The reason why you are defeated is because you are too weak. If you can be as strong as me, you will not be defeated by a bounty hunter. And it was defeated in the weakest sea, East Blue. It's a shame. Kaido at this time was already drunk. When he heard the news of Golden Lion Shiki's death in battle, he sighed like this. Kaido pursues the view that the strong is supreme. The reason why Golden Lion will be killed is because his strength is too weak. Master Kaido, we must not underestimate this bounty hunter Luo and Na. Since he can defeat Golden Lion, his strength must be very strong. Following a pirate said these words. Kaido's eyes widened suddenly. What are you saying? Do you dare to say that others are strong in front of Laozi? Laozi is the strongest creature by sea, land, and air. The voice fell. Kaido slammed a punch and smashed the pirate into meat sauce. Chapter 46 Hunting for Supernova. Crazy plan. Advertise here. Sabayati Archipelago. A small wooden boat has approached the dock. 3 people got off the boat. It was the trio of bounty hunters headed by Zoro. Boss Zoro, we have arrived at Sabayati Archipelago. Finally we can start our plan. Johnny couldn't help saying so. Joseph also nodded in response. Yes, we finally started our hunting plan. Since we defeated Crocodile, we have gained some fame at sea. But just a sand crocodile is not enough to be famous at sea. Hear the words of the 2 younger brothers. Zoro also gave them a comprehensible smile and immediately ordered. Master has already killed the legendary great pirate Golden Lion Shiki, we can't shame Master. So before entering the new world, let Master see the results of our cultivation. Supernovas are all gathered on an island. This is a very rare opportunity. Go. We should go. The voice fell. Johnny and Joseph nodded suddenly. First, prepare the wanted warrants from the supernovas, and then follow Zoro towards the streets of Sabayati Archipelago. I'm afraid no one thought of it. The plan of Zoro and their trio of bounty hunters turned out to come to Sabayati Archipelago to hunt supernovae. To know, the lowest supernovas are pirates with a bounty of more than 100 million, and there are even those with a bounty of more than 300 million. Area 21. Unable to take a tavern. Guru. A young man with a red hedgehog head wears goggles and a dark red coat, and his face is a little unhappy at this time. He was staring at the table next to him and frowned. Who is that idiot? At this moment, someone around replied, Boss Kid. That should be Hyaming Apu. The bounty is close to 200 million Baileys. The man with the red-haired hedgehog head is Eustace Kid, the pirate with the highest bounty among the supernovas of this generation. A reward of 315 million Baileys is offered. At the round table next to Kid, sits a man wearing earphones and a black shirt with the word, Yin, embroidered on his chest. This man is called Apu, and he is also one of the supernovae. A reward of 198 million Baileys is offered. At this time, AP also seemed to notice that Kid was staring at him, and then he couldn't help but sneer. He actually stretched out his right hand and raised his middle finger towards Kid. See this scene. Boom. Kid suddenly slapped the table. Boss Kid. People around him are preparing to persuade him. However, at this time, Kid's face showed a stern smile. Suddenly, boom, a big hole burst into the wall of the tavern in an instant. In the smoke of gunpowder. He could see Apu several backflips, and then steadily fell onto the street. The pedestrians on the street were suddenly frightened. What's wrong? Have you a fight? Such a loud noise. Immediately afterwards, Apu stared into the gunpowder and said provocatively. If you want to fight, come out and accompany you. Ah baba, you still don't know how good this uncle is. Step to step. From the gunpowder smoke, a figure slowly walked out. Kid also stared at Upson without any fear. Then don't stare at Laozi. You are really a guy who makes people feel nauseous when they see it. Laozi can kill you now. His tone was almost tit for tat. The rattling atmosphere instantly spread. When people around you see it. Those 2 guys seem to be pirates with a bounty of more than 100 million. Especially that Eustace Kid. It is said that he was cruel by nature and killed countless people along the way. Don't stay here, so as not to be affected by the fighting between these 2 men. Go. They ran away as they talked, and they only dared to stand 100 meters away and watch. At this time, Kid and Apu are already filled with the smell of gunpowder, as if they would make a violent blow at any time. However, at this time, someone persuaded. Boss Kid. Don't make trouble under Marine's nose here. If you want to make trouble, wait until New World to make trouble again. Kid's subordinates persuaded him behind him. Apu's subordinates also came up. Captain Arp. Let's stop it too. If you accidentally attract Admiral, the consequences would be unimaginable. The subordinates on both sides persuaded like this. Kid and Apu stood opposite each other and narrowed their eyes, as if no one was convinced yet. And just now, it seems that they are not ready to fight. We actually encountered 2 supernovas directly in this area, but it was really rewarding. Captain Kid and Hyaming Apple. With the voice falling. 3 men walked out from the crowd. All 3 men were holding long knives and walking towards Kid and Apu. At the head is a young man with short green hair. He has 3 weapons on his waist and a hideous scar on his chest. Someone immediately recognized their identity and couldn't help exclaiming. They are a trio of bounty hunters called Zoro, Johnny, and Joseph. The people who defeated the 7 warlords of the sea crocodile in the kingdom of Olivas are the 3 of them. I remember it too, all 3 of them seem to be Luoen's apprentices. Speaking of Luen, the strength of that guy is simply terrifying. Even the legendary great pirate Golden Lion Shiki broke into East Blue and was killed by Luen. Good. It was the trio of bounty hunters, Zoro. Ta 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 ta. Zoro and his team walked directly in the direction of Kid and Apu. Zhou Zongren commented again, Zoro, what are they doing here? Couldn't it be obvious? They are obviously focusing on the 2 supernova pirates, Kid and Apu. After all, their identities are bounty hunters. My god, how dare you stare at these 2 guys? Even the sand crocodile, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, was defeated by them. What can it be to stare at a supernova now? Said it too, even the sand crocodiles are defeated by them, not to mention these supernovas. At this time, Kid and Apple suddenly showed some ugly expressions. They have also heard about the trio of Zoro defeating the sand crocodile, and they have also heard of the name of the bounty hunter Luen, who has been raging in the sea recently. Even Kid couldn't help showing a little dread. Are you the apprentice of the bounty hunter Luen? They actually got their eyes on Laozi. But Laozi is not annoying. Apu stared at the Zoro 3 who came by the same way. Then he frowned deeply. Has been targeted by Luen's apprentices. These 3 guys were able to defeat Shichibukai. They must have a lot of strength. And I'm not annoying. Chapter 47 The supernova was seconded by Luen's apprentice. Advertise here. As a supernova, Kid and Apu both have their own pride. They watched Zoro and the 3 come over. Although there was a little jealousy in their eyes, it was not enough to make them feel scared. But watching Kid's eyes narrowed slightly. It's just defeating a useless Shichibukai. This kind of record proves nothing. Luen's apprentices only, and it is not Luen who is here in person. Laozi hates the look in their eyes. Kid watched warily as Zoro and others approached. But Zoro's eyes are just like hunters looking at their prey. This look really makes Kid feel very upset. Eustace Kid, it seems that the 2 of us are being targeted at the same time. Apu Tan not only said, would you like to cooperate temporarily? The 2 people who were ready to fight when they didn't agree. At this time, even proposed the idea of cooperation. Obviously, Zoro still brought some pressure to Kid and Arp. Heard these words, Kid couldn't help but said in a deep voice. What do you mean? Temporary pirate league. It's really good. The words are over. Kid stepped forward and stood with Arp. Behind Kid's little brother couldn't help but wonder. 2 against 3. It looks a little tricky. Asshole, it would be nice if Kira was there. Kira is a member of the Kid Pirates. A bounty of more than 100 million is considered one of the supernovas, but now I don't know where Kira went. Kid, give me the green algae head. How about leaving the other 2 brothers to you? Apu volunteered and said courageously, his eyes fixed on the oncoming Zoro. Can. Kid gave a big smile. Suddenly, the 2 looked at each other. Battle music. Only saw Apu's left hand turned into a trumpet, and then he put it directly to his mouth and started blowing, and even other parts of his body turned into various instruments and began to play a piece of music. Kid also sneered. Mechanical giant arm. As the voice fell. All the metal products around him started to be attracted by Kid. The Zoro trio saw this scene. Suddenly his eyes narrowed slightly, and then he immediately held their saber firmly. Dang 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 dang. As countless metals flowed towards Kid's arm, Kid's right hand has turned into a huge robotic arm. The ability to attract metal. Is it magnetism? It looks like a demon fruit power. Zoro said slowly. After that, all 3 knives were pulled out directly, first biting the knives in his mouth with the word Hidao, and then holding a knives in each of his left and right hands. Even armament hockey has been covered. Mito stream. It's not just Zoro. Johnny and Joseph have also pulled out their waist sabers, and even a layer of black armament hockey is still covering it. One sword flow. Now that the strength of the 3 of them is relatively close, maybe Zoro will be relatively stronger, but Johnny and Joseph are not weak at all. Since they started practicing Luen's cheats, their strength has undergone earth-shaking changes. Not to mention, now Zoro and the others have practiced the cheats to about 80%, and their strength has improved a lot. If it is to be measured by the strength of Marine, the current strength of the 3 Zoro and the others is probably at the level of Marine Vice Admiral. In just a month or so, the 3 of them are completely different from when they were in East Blue. At this time, Apu's battle music has been played. Kid's robotic arm has also been formed. The 3 of Zoro have also pulled out their sabers. Superior. As Zoro yelled, the 3 of them immediately rushed towards Kid and Apu. Scratch disc cut. As Apu's voice fell, the sound waves in the air suddenly turned into invisible blades, and they were instantly cut at Johnny and Joseph. Go to hell. Apu laughed coldly, and in an instant. However, Johnny and Joseph suddenly bowed their heads and flashed past, directly avoiding the slash of the blade that the sound wave turned into. This is because observation hockey has predicted the sonic attack, so it can escape so easily. What? Apu couldn't help being stunned. Johnny and Joseph sneered. One sword flow. Double skill. Second cut climb the building. Seeing these 2 people suddenly come back towards him. Apple was shocked and attacked again. Scratch disc explosion. With a huge explosion, Johnny and Joseph still dodge quickly, without any harm in the slightest. Pouch. The next moment, the two passed directly behind Apu. Oh, suddenly, a splash of blood, but seeing the blood surge in Apu's mouth, his chest has been cut open with two bloodstains with deep bones. Thump. Apu knelt directly on the ground and his eyes were full of despair. Okay. So strong. How can it be? Puff. He spurted out again. His body then fell straight to the ground, the blood directly stained the ground, and he was already dead to death. What? The onlookers in the distance were also shocked when they saw this. ARP, a supernova with a bounty close to 200 million Baileys, was killed by two bounty hunters, Johnny and Joseph. The swordsmanship of the two of them was so fast, I didn't even see how they used their moves. It is rumored that Johnny and Joseph were only East Blue bounty hunters, and the pirates they killed were only at the level of a few million Baileys. However, the supernova Apu they killed just now is a powerhouse with nearly 200 million Baileys. As this Luo's apprentice. The strength of Luo's apprentice has reached this level. No wonder they have defeated Shichibukai's sand crocodile. The people present looked at Johnny and Joseph in astonishment. Not just the people present. Even Kid showed great fear. Obviously Johnny and Joseph are headed by Zoro, so the strongest of the three bounty hunters is the green algae head Zoro in front of them. And now, Kid faces Zoro alone. He couldn't help squinting his eyes slightly, but a cold sweat suddenly broke out on his forehead. Damn it, Apu has been killed by two of Luo's apprentices. Since Zoro and the three of them are all Luo's apprentices, how powerful should Zoro be? Chapter 48 Killing a supernova is like drinking water. Kid Kira died in battle. Advertise here. Sabayati Archipelago. Area 24. On the street in front of a pub. Apu's body has shed blood from a place, and even the air is filled with a stench. The onlookers in the distance were already full of horror. Only Zoro and Kid stood face to face. At this time, Kid couldn't help but glance at Johnny and Joseph. As if to see his worries. Zoro couldn't help but said in a deep voice. Do not worry. They won't intervene. Because you are my prey. Obviously Zoro already has the advantage in numbers, but he is not prepared to bully the less with more. This is due to his confidence in strength. After hearing these words, Kid couldn't help being furious. You said Laozi is your prey. Asshole. You too underestimated Laozi. Immediately raged. That mechanical arm slammed toward Zoro like this. Go to hell. Seeing that the robotic arm slammed down. A coldness suddenly flashed in Zoro's eyes. Too slow. Boom. The mechanical arm hit the ground and splashed endless dust. Zoro had already avoided this blow. And in the smoke of gunpowder, Zoro's deep voice came. 3 swordsmanship ghost slash, as Zoro's voice fell. But I saw a figure flickering in the smoke of gunpowder. At the same time, Kid's face was shocked instantly, and he immediately blocked the robotic arm in front of him. Pouch. However, Zoro's figure has been flashed by. Puff. Then Kid had already vomited blood in the air, and he flew tens of meters away before he hit the ground heavily. Is it protected by robotic arm? Zoro couldn't help but praised. It's the supernova with the highest bounty. If you change to ARP, Zoro's demon slash must be able to kill Apu. However, when facing Kid at this time, Kid unexpectedly blocked the robotic arm in front of him during the critical period of Zoro's knife. Only to avoid being hacked to death by Zoro. Obviously. Although both supernovae, Kid's strength is stronger than ARP. What? Puff. Asshole. Only saw Kid slowly get up and spit out a bite of blood again. Although he was not fatally injured, just relying on the impact force just now made him feel extremely uncomfortable as if he was overwhelmed by a river. What a strong slash. Did Luen teach you such a move? No wonder that even the sand crocodile of 7 warlords of the sea was defeated by you. Kid was gasping for breath. Try to regain some strength. He raised the robotic arm of his right hand. There were 3.5 meters deep cracks on the robotic arm, which were cut out by Luen just now. Step to step, Zoro continues to walk in Kid's direction. A move that can stop me. It is enough to prove that you do have some strength. But next, you never have a chance again. Obviously, Kid's strength is stronger than ARP. Kid not only offers a bounty but is the highest existence among supernovas, but his strength is indeed very strong. But it's a pity. Kid now faces Zoro, who has practiced advanced swordsmanship and two-color hockey. Asshole. Laozi hasn't gone to New World yet. Is it about to end? He clenched his teeth and looked at Zoro. He was also very clear in his heart that he would definitely not be able to block Zoro's moves like before. Step on. When I was about 10 meters in front of Kid. Zoro stood still again. The Kid in front of Zoro has no threat at all. Asshole. Laozi will never give up like this. Bounty Hunter Zoro. Bring it on. Kid roared. The mechanical arm raised high again. Humph. Zoro couldn't help but sneer. And just now, Kid, there was another rage from the crowd. However, he saw a man wearing a mask, wearing a blue Madara t-shirt and holding 2 sickles in his hand. Kira. Kid was overjoyed when he saw the visitor. Killing warrior. Kira, a member of the Kid pirate group and one of the supernovae. A reward of 162 million Baileys is offered. At this time, Kira saw that Kid had a gray-headed face, and instantly jumped up and came to Kid's side. He couldn't help but ask. Kid, what happened to you? Is this guy beating you like this? Then he looked at Zoro. Kid said solemnly. This guy named Zoro is Luoen's apprentice, he is the strongest bounty hunter Luoen. His strength is not simple. I was almost killed by a single spike just now. I am afraid that only when we join forces will we have a chance to defeat him. Kira nodded suddenly, seeing that Kid Kira has decided to join forces. Johnny and Joseph said loudly. Boss Zoro, this guy wants to bully the less. Should we also join the war? Unexpectedly, Zoro still shook his head. Don't come here, Kid and Kira, these two supernovae. They are all my prey. Johnny and Joseph did not reluctantly. The next moment, go together, with a loud shout. I only saw Kid Kira and the two immediately rushed towards Zoro. Decapitate whirlwind. Kira held two sickles and cut off at Zoro's head. Strong pressure mechanical fist. Kid once again drove the huge robotic arm and slammed it towards Zoro. 2-1. Kid and Kira joined forces to attack Zoro alone. However, Zoro didn't care at all, and even ran towards Kid Kira quickly. Three swords flow profound meaning. Qinglong yin flowing water. Cut. The voice fell. Just looking at Zoro's figure, it flashed quickly like a dragon. Pouch. Pouch. Two blood spatters. Kid Kira suddenly widened their eyes, turned their heads in disbelief, and glanced at Zoro, who was retracting the knife into its sheath. Okay. What a quick knife. Kira tried to cover the scars on her chest with her hands, but the blood in her body couldn't stop gushing out. There was also a small scar on Kid's neck, and he couldn't even speak. Zzz. Accompanied by the sound of Zoro slowly retracting the knife into its sheath. Plop, plop. Kid Kira fell to the ground one after another, eyes full of despair and unwillingness. Two more supernovae were hunted down. In addition, Arp, who has been beheaded by Johnny Joseph, has killed 3 supernovae in the 24th area of Sabayati Archipelago. The eyes of the onlookers not far away were already full of horror, they looked at Zoro and them like monsters. As this Luoen's apprentice. They killed a supernova, it's as simple as drinking water. So it's specifically here to hunt the supernova pirates. Chapter 49 Sword Celestial Dragons. Do you want to ask for directions? Advertise here. Area 24, Civilian Street. Yoroj Sungjung, that is. A pirate suddenly surprised. Beside the pirate was a man of sturdy figure. The man is tall and strong, with tattoos on his arms, a scar on his left forehead, a beard on his cheek, gold earrings and a large red rosary, and he wears monk costumes. The most weird thing is that the man's back still has wings that are unique to Sky Island people. Weird monk, Yoroj. One of the supernovas is offering a reward of 108 million Baileys. As the pirate's voice fell, Yoroj suddenly turned his head and looked behind. Oh huh, celestial dragons. Suddenly swagger in the unscrupulous zone. What a troublesome race, it seems that I can only kneel down and wait for him to pass first. While talking, Yoroj and others knelt directly. Behind them at this time. A slave tied by an iron chain was crawling hard on his stomach. Sitting on the slave's back was a celestial dragon wearing a bubble hood. The celestial dragons with a runny nose is called St. Charles. Wherever Charles Rose Sanctuary passed, the residents on both sides of the street directly knelt down, and they didn't even dare to look directly into the eyes of Charles Rose Sanctuary. However, he saw St. Charles' face showing a trace of sorrow, and even kicked directly at the slave under his feet. Bang bang bang. He kicked the slave, and even cursed in his mouth. Trash slave. Blame you for being slow like a tortoise. It sucks to ride you. You guy is really irritating. Step to step, St. Charles Roth continued to kick the slave. Hoo. Kicked tired and rested for a while. Suddenly, he saw a woman kneeling next to the street. The woman had a very slim figure and face. His eyes suddenly enlarged to reveal greed. Even St. Charles Rose got off the slave's back, and walked to the woman to look at the woman carefully. Very good. Just let you be my wife. A man in a suit walked up behind him. Yes, Master Charos. Then I will go through the formalities for the 13th wife to move into the Holy Land immediately. The voice fell. However, Charles said impatiently. I'm tired of the wives from 1 to 5, so let's treat them as untouchables. The man in the suit immediately bowed and said, yes. But heard these words. The woman kneeling on the ground was shocked and said, please wait, Just now, a man stood up next to her immediately. Master Celestial Dragons, please wait a minute, she is my fiancé. Boom. There was only one gunshot. St. Charles Rose slowly said. Inferior race. How dare you stand in front of me? Go to hell. The man immediately dilated his pupils, a burst of scarlet blood poured out of his chest, and fell to his knees again, his eyes full of pain. Thump. He fell directly to the ground and died. The woman kneeling on the ground was shocked and frightened. What? A magnificent murder in a large court. What's this? Who will save him? Save him. However, no matter how she yelled, all the residents around just bowed their heads and kept silent. No one dared to provoke celestial dragons, and no one dared to attack celestial dragons. Seeing this, Yoroj couldn't help but complain. Celestial dragons. This troublesome race. It seems to be more chaotic than the rumors. Step to step, there were rustling footsteps not far away. The Zoro three appeared again, and then looked at Uroge at a glance. Monk Uroge, it seems that we can hunt down a supernova again. Johnny and Joseph also surprised. Yes, Zoro boss. It seems that today's harvest is quite fruitful. Come and celebrate with a drink. Zoro and the others held up the wine bottles, clinking glasses like no one else to celebrate, and then they all went up to the sky and poured the spirits. This is one of their favorite ways to relax as bounty hunters. People on both sides of the street have also noticed Zoro and them. Look, who are those guys? Wandering in the middle of the street. Don't you be afraid of celestial dragons. I remember, some of them are the apprentices of East Blue bounty hunter Luen. They defeated the sand crocodile before. Those guys are in trouble. Zoro and the others still look like they are gracious, they don't know any celestial dragons. Suddenly, Zoro and the others are already standing in front of celestial dragons Charles Rose Saint. Saint Charles just turned around and looked at the three of them. Seeing Zoro, they didn't even kneel down, his face couldn't help showing a look of horror. Finally, Zoro couldn't help but notice Saint Charles Rose. First he poured a sip of wine from the sky, and then asked leisurely. Who, you got in the middle of the road? Do you want to ask for directions? Suddenly, the whole audience was shocked. This man with a green algae head really doesn't know celestial dragons. And just when everyone present was surprised, Saint Charles Rose has raised his gun. Humble human, you dare to stand in front of me? Kneel me down. Boom. The trigger was pulled directly. At the same time, the Zoro trio suddenly narrowed their eyes. Observation Hawkeye had already caught the bullet coming, and the trio dodged sideways. And the three of them also directly pulled out their waist sabers. Since you have drawn a gun at us, it seems you have. Ready to fight. Everyone was immediately shocked. What? They drew their swords. Hey me, what does he want to do? Everyone hasn't reacted yet, only seeing Zoro's trio's combined attack flashed by. Suddenly, blood spattered. The celestial dragon's Charles Rose Saint's eyes suddenly turned pale, even the bubble hood had been split open, there were 2 wounds on his body, and his throat was directly sealed with a knife on his neck. The three of Zoro, Johnny, and Joseph all possess the ability to kill supernovas on their own. Facing Saint Charles Rose at this time, even the three of Zoro made swords at the same time. It is conceivable, almost for an instant, no one in the room could see all this clearly. Thump. Celestial dragon's Charles Rose fell heavily to the ground, no longer breathing. At this moment, the audience was extremely silent. Chapter 50 Sengoku was furious. Send Admiral there. Advertise here. At this time, the people around had cold sweat on their foreheads. They never thought that someone would dare to attack celestial dragons. Finally they have come back to their senses and can't help feeling a little afraid. These 3 guys are all the apprentices of East Blue bounty hunter Luen. Although I have heard of their names, I didn't expect them to be so messy. They dare to hack celestial dragons to death in public, they are really crazy. Luoen's apprentice. It seems that we are in trouble next. It is said that if celestial dragons are in danger, Marine will definitely send Admiral there. It is true. Once someone dares to attack celestial dragons, then Marine must send Admiral to come. What's more, the St. Charles Rose is now dead. Quick, get out of here. This matter has nothing to do with us. Hurry up. The residents around suddenly rushed away and ran away. They dare not get involved in this matter. Even the monk Uroge. There was also a cold sweat on his forehead, and he said with some fear. It's really troublesome. Obviously he was just a bounty hunter, but he actually killed celestial dragons. It seems that you have to leave here quickly. Is muttering to himself. The monk Uroge was about to leave. And this time. But Zoro's deep voice came again. Hey, Uroge. Don't run. You are our prey. Ta 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 ta. Although they killed celestial dragons in seconds, Zoro and the others didn't know the background of celestial dragons at all, so they didn't care at all. Instead, he walked slowly towards Uroge. Uroge turned and looked at Zoro and them. Then he smiled sadly. Ahahaha. Your target is me. Don't you know that you have caused trouble that shouldn't be caused? The three of Zoro looked at each other and couldn't help but wonder, but they didn't take it to heart. Even Zoro directly drew his sword and said coldly. Trouble that shouldn't be caused. Do you mean yourself? It's really arrogant. Johnny and Joseph moved instantly and surrounded Uroge. Asshole. Can't stay here for too long. You have to run away quickly. Uroge worried that Marine Admiral would come. So there is already a retreat in my heart. But at this time, he was already surrounded by the Zoro trio, and then coldly scolded. It seems that only you idiots can be defeated first. Humph. The Zoro three couldn't help looking at each other, and each pulled out their waist sabers. And armament Hawkeye is already covering the blade. 1 sword style flying dragon. 1 sword style horse ghost. 1 Dao Lu Juhei lion song song. The 3 of them used different moves to rush towards the monk Uroge instantly. How fast the Zoro trio's swords are. Just a moment. Puff, puff, puff. The 3 of them were already behind Uroge. With the blood spattering, I saw 3 scars with deep bones suddenly appeared on Yoroge's body, and even Yoroge hadn't reacted at all. Oh, Yoroge's extremely tall and strong body staggered abruptly, and his hands could not stop shaking and propped on the ground. Thump. Then he rolled his eyes and fell to the ground, without even making any sound. Under the joint hands of the 3 Zoro. Even the supernova monk Yoroge, who has a bounty of more than 100 million Baileys, has no resistance at all, and has been killed by their combined efforts. Good. Another supernova was beheaded, plus the previous ARP and Kid Kira. There are already 4 supernovas who have died in Zoro's hands. Someone not far away looked at this scene, and the fear in their eyes had reached the extreme. The 3 Luen apprentices, are they the devil? Even at Sabayati Archipelago, not only did you kill the celestial dragons, but even the pirates did not let them go. Quick, run away. Someone has already reported to Naval Headquarters, we must not get involved in this matter. Celestial dragons are killed, celestial dragons are killed. Countless people are aware that something extremely terrifying is about to happen. At the same time, Marine Headquarters Marineford. Sengoku was sitting at his desk, and was busy dealing with various things at this time. Ace's execution is less than a week away, and the Whitebeard pirates will definitely come. Therefore, Marine must fully prepare. Suddenly, dong dong dong. There was a very rapid knock on the door. A Colonel Marine opened the door and shouted anxiously. Marshal Sengoku, Marshal Sengoku, the big thing is not good. Charles Saint is celestial dragons, he was killed in Sabayati Archipelago, The voice fell. Sengoku, who was still dealing with affairs, stopped abruptly. Suddenly the blue veins on his forehead uttered angrily. What? Celestial dragons were killed, asshole. What the hell is going on? At this time, he had no interest in dealing with Marine's affairs anymore, and immediately got up from his chair. And Colonel Marine also narrowed his eyes slightly and said in amazement. Report to Marshal Sengoku, according to witnesses. In Area 24 of the Sabayati Archipelago, St. Charles met 3 bounty hunters headed by Zoro. St. Charles shot them for not kneeling down, and was killed by the 3 of Zoro. But Zoro's target seems to be the supernovas on the island. Now 4 supernovas, Kid, Kira, ARP, and Yoroge, have been killed by them. The voice fell. Sengoku's teeth clenched coldly. Can't help but frown and said angrily. What did you say? 3 bounty hunters headed by Zoro. I remember they were Luoen's apprentices, and it was they who defeated the Sand Crocodile some time ago. Asshole, obviously a bounty hunter, killed celestial dragons. His face is already very ugly. Colonel Marine continued. Marshal Sengoku, now celestial dragons are killed. 5 elders requested that Admiral must be sent to Sabayati Archipelago to capture these 3 guys who dared to offend celestial dragons. The voice fell. Sengoku frowned slightly. Okay. I see. Call Aokiji for me. Now celestial dragons is killed. According to the law of the world government, Naval Headquarters must send Admiral there. Yes. After Colonel Marine went out. Boom. Sengoku couldn't help but slap the table. It's nearing Ace's execution, and there is another killing of celestial dragons. Luen, why don't you teach your apprentice well? Sengoku, who was already so busy, couldn't help sighing heavily.